Previously on Dr. Jordan Breeding.
Do you hear that, dude? I brought my phone so we can do some research on predators. Maybe I'll watch all the movies or something in case there's any tips. Oh, God! Oh, no! Oh, God! Oh, no! Oh, God! Oh, it's coming! Did you see that? The heck did it? Oh, my God! Oh, my God, Dave! Oh, my God, I would help you, but I don't want to. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I don't know what to do about alien predator hybrids. I better watch these shitty movies for more information. Oh, God. What the... I'm sure it's fine. I think I'm just gonna watch it explain all the alien movies, just in case I need to know anything. And I'm sure whoever wore this before me just really likes spaghetti.
Blow it the f out into space.
For once, we open with white text credits, but over black space. Also, we get an extremely slow and rad title reveal. We soon notice a big old commercial spaceship named the Nostromo, which is an anagram for room snot, which is what covers a shocking amount of this ship. The Nostromo has 7 crew members on their way back to Earth because even in the future, corporations are gonna understaff and overload their workers.
My favorite part about driving for AutoZone would be...
I feel dead. Well, you get what you contracted for like everybody else.
The camera wanders all over the ship so we can be both amazed by the ship's design and again by its wetness. Like, it is so wet. The wettest ship of all time. I bet it's wetter than Waterworld ships. It literally rains inside the ship. It doesn't get much wetter than that. Good thing they have artificial gravity aboard or they'd all drown in all the floating wet drops. I guess technically we have that same kind of thing here in the 21st century as well, and it's called a leaky roof. And as I keep telling my wife, I don't need to fix it because it's a callback to the movie Alien. This is about the time when most people click off these videos, but if you stay, I promise it'll be a real wet treat. Or maybe it won't. I don't know you. Maybe you hate wet things. If so, you would hate Dave.
Sorry.
He is dripping right now. Probably even in water, but it looks kind of viscous.
You should know.
Okay, so speaking of Dave, I actually thought that the next scene was filmed in his bedroom. I mean, one half-naked boy slowly waking up from cryo-sleep next to 6 other half-naked men and women and a confused cat? If that's not a Dave morning, I don't know what is.
Morning, princess.
Good morning.
They all eat breakfast, and it's not one of those fake-ass movie breakfasts we see all the time now where a person makes enough food to make a cardiologist cry, but their family member only grabs like one moldy orange on their way out to work at a law firm that defends kid murderers. It's important you know that this is different than that.
This is where you separate the men from the boys.
But then the captain is like, I need to go talk to Mother.
Mother wants to talk to you.
And Mother is, like all mothers I've known, a computer.
Morning, Mother.
Also seemingly unresponsive.
I don't have the milk of mother's kindness in me anymore.
Just like Dave's modern computer. You should get that looked at. Geek Squad it. It's so hot already.
I know, I'm pretty warm too. I can't imagine what it's like at that thing.
Just when you have muscles like this, Dave.
I know.
The crew quickly realizes that they're only halfway home.
Some of you may have figured out we're not home yet.
But Mommy woke them up early because there's some sort of signal emanating from a nearby planet.
A transmission? Out here?
What? No.
And it says in their contract that if there's a possibility of finding intelligent life mid-space DoorDash mission, they're obligated to inspect it or they'll forfeit any earnings because even in the future, corporations are dismantling union protections for workers. It's also sort of like how no matter what we're doing, if my wife sees an antique store, we have to inspect it or I'll forfeit my marriage.
It's not my contract to do this kind of duty.
There is a clause in the contract which specifically states any systematized transmission indicating a possible intelligent origin must be investigated.
I got the worst f***ing attorneys.
So to be clear, the entire reason this movie and entire franchise exists is because of some stupid space fine print on a space contract in space.
You got that?
Well, Yeah.
All right, we're going in.
Yeah. We're going in.
What is this? The Good Wife in space? Dave, write that down. Okay, well, you're too slippery to write, but just remember it, okay? So they hop on a little baby ship and head down to the surface of this weird planet, and spoiler, smaller things coming out of bigger things is gonna be a running theme throughout these movies. Except, oops. They totally boof the landing and the hull is breached.
Would it be Biff the landing? Because boofing is drinking through your ass.
Got that?
Aw, hey, I bet a properly rested and fully staffed crew wouldn't have f***ed that up. Maybe like me, they too are pregnant and drunk. Mommy brain. It's pretty shitty outside. So Dallas, Kane, and Lambert slip into some spacesuits and wander towards the signal, while Parker and Brett try to get the ship back up and running, and Ripley and Ash they coordinate things. They say things over the radio.
How's it going?
They watch the GoPros.
Let's go.
You know, coordinator stuff. I'm as knowledgeable about spaceship roles as I am real business roles. Like, what is a senior principal of digital implementation? I just saw that on LinkedIn. I've never had a real job, can you tell? I do have a Patreon and have turned on YouTube channel memberships, which some say is actually harder and more important than a real job. Certainly more than the principle of digital implementation, which I'm pretty sure is just business code for fingering. That explains why it's something that Dave keeps mentioning is something he needs us to do more of at every business meeting.
You're gonna do what? Finger.
I'm just kidding. We don't have business meetings. We sometimes have business stabbings. Oh, by the way, the space cat? His name is Jonesy. The outside crew stumble upon a massive, crazy-looking alien spaceship. Oh my god, I just got the meaning of the title. Anyway, though the interior is very much different than the human ship, it is just as wet. Space, the wettest frontier.
Moisture is the essence of wetness.
In space, no one can hear you squirt. Both great alternative taglines to this movie that the senior principal of digital implementation of movie taglines could have used, but no. Anyway, they stumble upon a huge, dead, fossilized pilot guy. Apparent cause of death? Lack of wetness. Also, he appears to have
Exploded from inside.
which I don't know if you know this, but that's bad. I'm a bit of a space head and a full-on doctor, so believe me when I say an acute case of exploding from the inside is bad in space. Even worse, Ripley half decodes that signal they're here to inspect.
It doesn't look like an SOS.
And believes it to be a warning of some kind.
Beware, end of life.
But the others are out of signal range, and going out to tell them in person would take forever.
What's the point?
So Ash is just like, you know, let them figure it out. No need to rock the space boat. You gotta let people learn by doing, and or by being killed by aliens. Dr. Spock said that. I'm also a bit of a parent head. They drop Kane into the cave part of the alien ship, which is a standard part of spaceships in the future.
Secret tunnel! Secret tunnel!
And he finds
Leathery objects like eggs or something.
and there's something moving in the leather egg that definitely could be leather chickens, but instead of him being like, I guess I should run forever until I reach Earth or overshoot into the sun, he's like, maybe I should put my face right in it.
Just want to stick my face all over it.
This is like leaning down and who's a good boy-ing a timber wolf. In space, no one can hear you scream, "No, dumbass!" But don't judge the guy too hard. You would not believe what Dave was screaming for the guy to go ahead and put into the weird alien eggs. I mean, unless you guessed penis. Then you'd be right. That's what Dave was yelling.
Sorry.
So yeah, the other two drag Charles Facehugger Kane back to the ship with the thing more attached to his face than horsey sauce to Dave's after a bender, and they're like,
We're clean, let us in.
but Ripley is like, no, there are
Quarantine procedures.
for when something hops out of an alien egg and suction cups to your mouth orifice, and they're like,
Open the hatch.
dude, come on, dude, don't be lame, dude. And Ash, the cool guy on board, opens the airlock anyway. This whole scene hits a lot different after a pandemic, but thankfully, this takes place 100 years in the future, so we don't have to also listen to Aaron Rodgers espousing the healing powers of face hugger impregnations and horse medicine through your alien's asshole. Whatever he would come up with.
That was awkward.
They drag Kane to the medical bay and are like, well, he's not dead, but that thing is really stuck on there. So they try to cut one of its arms, but it bleeds straight acid that burns through multiple levels of the ship before fizzling out. so chopping it up is not an option. So they do a little more research and determine, well, it's a
Tough little son of a bitch.
Oh, thanks, science officer. Glad you're aboard. In fact, Ripley confronts Ash and is like, you suck at your job, dude. You didn't follow quarantine protocol, which is crazy because that's like your whole thing. It's a science thing. That's your thing.
It's a pretty big for a science officer.
My thing is growing curly mullets and wearing tiny underwear. And he's like, well, too late. Lol. The alien has disappeared somehow. Except, whoops, there it is. But it's dead. Still wet, don't get me wrong. And if Dave was the science officer, it'd be in for a very romantic evening. But Ripley is like, okay, let's throw this into space. And Ash is like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's not be hasty. I haven't finished inspecting it. And considering how shady he's been acting, and this being one of the more genitally HR Giger designs, everyone should be asking, are you gonna f it? Oh, dude, don't. Ash, no.
Well, we've got to have a look at this.
Instead, Space Captain Dallas is like, yeah, I mean, I don't give a shit. He can do whatever science he wants. He's the science boy. And Ripley's like,
I don't trust him.
and Dallas is like, well, he did replace my usual science guy at the very last minute before we took off for no clear reason, but again, he's the science guy. You're the lady guy. We all have our guy things.
It happens, my dear, because that's what the company wants to happen.
They fly back to the mothership, the ship with Mother, even though they're not fully repaired, and once they get there, poof, Kane's awake. He's feeling great. And so they decide to share one last yummy space meal before hopping back into their communal ice bed. But Kane has a little trouble chewing.
I'm eating breastfruit this, but then it tastes better, you know what I'm saying?
Also, he has a little trouble with a baby alien exploding out of his chest.
Not again!
Honestly, the crew takes this development pretty well, considering I would never be able to speak ever again.
I'm going to die.
It's too scary. If an alien popped out of your stomach right now, that'd be the end of the channel. Every video would just be me sitting in a corner going, ah! They feed Kane's body to the space sharks or the space ducks or, you know, whatever space has. And they're like, all right, here's a cattle prod thing. Let's go shock that little bugger. Where'd he go anyway? Also, here's a motion detector thing for the motions, for his motions, so that we could detect them.
Gotcha.
They go hunting and they immediately find... Hello! Which could be pretty scary if you're allergic.
It's a cat.
But still probably isn't as scary as an alien that f***s your face pregnant until a baby explodes out of your chest. But I don't have cat allergies. Those seem bad too.
Scream and run.
Regardless, they still need to catch the cat.
Wait, don't let him go!
Because it keeps setting off their motion sensor thing, so they send Brett to go catch it. Because he's the best at cat noises.
Amazing.
He can talk to them in a way that most of the other crew members cannot. And he does find something. That's way wetter than cats usually like to be. So Brett's dead, but the rest of the crew reconvene and are like, all right, let's call it an alien. It's sneaking around in the air vents, which fortuitously lead right to the airlock. So why don't we have two of us cover the one other opening and have Dallas crawl through with a flamethrower and scare its wet ass to the airlock where we can
Zapping into outer space.
And everybody's like, sounds good. Although, let's also check with Mother real quick, like good little space boys and space girls. And again, she's about as useful as my mom was when I was asking her to help me defeat video game villains. I'd be like, Mom, I can't beat Darth Malik. And she'd be all like, does not compute, interlinked, cells within cells. I'd be like, Mom, that's not a button on the controller. That doesn't help me.
You're not even close to baseline.
So whatever, Dallas climbs into the air vents with a flamethrower to hopefully flush out the alien infestation. And like, if I had a nickel, am I right, Dave? Unfortunately,
I'm going down.
I think we've all been thinking about the alien incorrectly. See, the big guy really just wants a hug.
Thank you for being a friend.
Except like Debbie, the alien does Dallas hard.
Dallas? No.
There's a joke for all of you VHS porn watchers of the 1970s. There's like an 80-year-old pervert being like, oh yeah, all right. It's probably not even VHS, right? Like, what did they have? Like, you probably had like a reel for your projector.
Yeah, there's like this
Like, what do they have
overhead slide projector.
Yeah. It's one slide at a time. Like the laminate thing. Ooh, pull it off. Okay. Oh, this one's about how mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Not that one. Oh, Debbie.
What?
Speaking of, Ripley comes up with a new plan to blow it.
The f*** out into space.
which, okay.
Obviously, it means killing it.
I like where your head's at, but oh no. She just means basically the same thing they just tried, but without getting Lenny to death. Although, before they take another crack at the alien, Ripley takes another crack at Mother, who inadvertently reveals oh, oops. The entire mission has been about bringing this alien home to be studied, and the crew is fully expendable, and Ash has known all along, which explains why he broke quarantine protocol.
You also forgot the Science Division's basic quarantine law.
No, that I didn't forget.
And in general, why he's just been a bit of a dick. Because even in the future, corporations have stooges that will let workers die to improve board member bonuses. This makes Ripley sad.
Nobody cares, crybaby.
She becomes even sadder when Ash starts locking doors that she's trying to walk through before full-on attacking her and trying to shove, I assume, a porn magazine into her mouth until she dies. Although, there are worse ways to go. To be clear, that's not just a joke. There are a bunch of naked women pictures in the area where he gets the magazine. And also, I, in breeding family tradition, absolutely want to be killed with a nudie magazine shoved into my mouth. But not today, Dave. Eventually. How did you already have that ready to go? But unfortunately for Ripley, Parker and Lambert show up and beat Ash with a until his head falls off. And it's revealed that Ash is a damn robot.
I'm so surprised.
Even more terrifyingly, he appears to run exclusively on milk.
Milk was a bad choice.
That doesn't seem particularly cost-effective. Have you seen the price of milk recently? It's hard enough powering my 3 children on milk, and they're not even secret androids, I don't think. Although now I'm sort of worried that they might be. I mean, they drink so much milk. Join my channel and/or Patreon today. Oh, and to be fair, braining someone with a baseball bat only to find out you didn't kill them and they were a machine, probably the best thing that could happen to you. It almost never happens in real life. Dave learned that lesson the hard way more than once. Everybody you hit with a baseball bat turns out to have been human, and now you're on the hook for that.
Now I'm working for you.
Oh, it'd be so much better if they were just milk-powered robots.
Like a human. Milkshake.
Whatever, they plug Ash back in, even though he's quite obliterated, and he's like, choke, milk spew. Yeah, the company wants the alien because it's basically genetically perfect and unkillable, just like Beyonce.
With gentle hands and the heart of a fighter.
Survivor.
But she only unleashes earworms, and maybe Space Walmart Amazon has a weapons division or something. Whatever. Beep boop, powering down, set me on fire. He was a little scrambled. Because he's damaged. That's why that sentence didn't make any sense. I'm just trying to show you what it was like.
You have my sympathies.
Ripley's like, all right, well, new plan.
We're gonna blow up the ship
and escape on a separate shuttle. You two go grab coolant tanks or whatever we need, and I'll activate the self-destruct and get the shuttle ready. You ever wonder why sci-fi spaceships have self-destruct buttons? It's not like modern cars have one of those, unless you own a Cybertruck, in which case every button is potentially a self-destruct, or just if it rains. If you had a Cybertruck like on the Nostromo, it would not work. It's too wet. They're like, oh God, we were gonna use the Cybertruck, but we put it in the wet part of the ship and it got some drops on it. Oh, and also she decides to grab the cat and go around both pissing and calling it by its full Christian name.
Jones?
She catches Jones and stuffs him in a space box. Elsewhere, Parker and Lambert are killed by the alien. Presumably because it just has so many mouths. That's a genetically perfect amount of mouths. We don't see a lot of what happens, but all of the noises make it sound worse than I'm sure it was. Oh, never mind, it looks pretty bad. Run away! Ripley gets the self-destruct rolling, although it's got a quirky little feature where even though it won't go off for 10 minutes, after 5 minutes, you won't be allowed to turn it off. Because rules are rules. Anyway, Ripley heads into the corridor, but alien! And she runs back to turn off the self-destruct because I guess the alien's in the way to the shuttle. But it doesn't work. Even when she tries to ask Mother to turn it off. Mother! Because per usual, Mother doesn't do shit. Mother! Although, I'm surprised there wasn't some feature integrated into the ship to be like, hey, if the humans figure out the plan and realize there's no way for them to kill the alien, make sure that they don't, I don't know, last minute ditch and then explode the ship. Because realistically, the alien was always going to kill the entire crew, or at least that was always a very strong possibility. So what makes more sense is to just make sure that it doesn't die so that they can send a follow-up ship to grab it or whatever. I'm just surprised there weren't more fail-safes to the plan and that they weren't integrated into the ship. They should never be allowed to blow up the ship because they want to keep the alien alive. Also, they make a point about how
this is a commercial ship, not a rescue ship.
Which is actually a pretty good point. Like, could the company not hire a group of mercenaries or something? Do they not want to tip off their competitors? Are Walmart and Target both collecting alien critters to beef up their weapons divisions and they're both scared to tip their hand too much? And this sounds like a joke, but for a brief period in the 80s, Pepsi actually had the world's 6th largest naval fleet. I suppose it's possible that the signal was just a coincidence, but then why was ash added to the crew just 2 days before they left? It feels premeditated, and it feels like it could have just used a little more meditating. They're not good at grabbing aliens. They just happen to. And just a quick side note, shouldn't the company be most excited for like just the acid part? A substance that can eat through anything, even ships meant to keep people alive in the vacuum of space for years? There must be millions of non-evil applications for something like that. Like, could it melt away garbage? Could it be used to destroy nuclear waste? Probably. And all it takes is milking some gross alien leather eggs. Same profit, smaller body count. You gotta work smarter, not harder, my dudes. But whatever, Ripley makes a break for the shuttle after grabbing a still alive Jones as she basically hucks around like a bag of potatoes, and she gets on the shuttle and the computer says purge, which, hey, I did those movies too. And she flies the shuttle away moments before the Nostromo explodes. 3 times? Why did it do that?
Triples makes it safe. Now, triples is best.
Huh. But Ripley chucks Jones in a cryopod and herself strips down to that tiny underwear everyone's been talking about, because in the future, underwear is so small as to be pointless. Also, bras, they don't exist. This is the future that liberals want. Yes, that includes stowaway aliens on our spaceships.
Yes, we can.
And Ripley runs and hides in a closet and very conservatively slips clothes back on. Like a reverse horror film, or an anti-horror, or a bad horror film, but I'll forgive her, because she also whips out a space pistol before strapping herself into a chair and spraying the alien with gas that causes him to flip out, and she then opens the airlock, which sucks it to the spaceship hull before she shoots it with the pistol, causing it to lose its grip, though even then, it manages to grab hold of the ship engine, so she activates said engine, finally knocking the thing loose. And yes, to answer your question, the engine was also super wet. Like, it looks like it's spraying water more than fire exhaust or something more gooey than that. I don't know what's in that engine, but it's yucky. How did they get all this water on their ships and in their engines anyway? I need more wet in my life. Just a bucket of water sitting in my car or something. That'd be great. It's like the same thing. Anyway, Ripley's, believe it or not, like, okay, I'm gonna leave a final report that mentions like literally nothing that's happened and then take a well-earned 6 weeks or so nap until she reaches the frontier.
With a little luck, the network will pick me up.
And then she probably is going to get her pay docked for the delay and all the cleanings because the real monster has been capitalism. Oh, wait, it actually was? Ah, damn it. Now this video is educational. Gonna have to dumb it down for the next video. If that's even possible. I mean, we learned so much together. Our time together is so valuable, educationally speaking.
What's the matter?
Hello, Jordan. Did you know the video you're editing is sponsored by Aura?
No, I did not know that, but can I just get back to editing this video? I've been at it all night.
No, you can't, because hackers may have stolen the social security numbers of literally every single American.
Ah, even Dave's?
Dave doesn't have a social security number. He was found in the trash when he was 11 years old.
All right. I keep forgetting that.
But for everybody else, over 2.9 billion records were stolen from National Public Data, which offers personal information to employers, private investigators, staffing agencies, and others doing background checks. These stolen records include a person's full name, address, date of birth, social security number, and phone number, along with alternate names, all of which has been released for free online, reportedly.
Okay, wow, well that sucks, and legitimately probably explains why I got hacked so much a couple of months ago. My PayPal was hacked twice, my Twitter was hacked at least once, and I think it was probably hackers that sent all those pizzas to my spaceship on my cheat day. I'm not liable for that. Can Aura fight those hackers? Can they find those guys?
Well, The good news is you should be fine now because you've got Aura.
Oh, that's right. They said they also are constantly monitoring whether my email or my phone number or my social security number pops up on the dark web, or if any of those things are used to access my credit card or my bank accounts, or again, my freaking PayPal. How do they keep getting in my PayPal?
Absolutely. Now anybody can head over to aura.com/breeding to try it out for 14 days for 100% free, which is at minimum enough time for Aura to find out if any of their personal data is exposed.
They've also got a VPN in the same app, so I don't need multiple apps, and they've reduced my spam email by like a ton, and they tell me my credit score every month, which is kind of cool, and it's gonna get there soon.
Right, so again, people should head to aura.com/breeding or click the link in the description to again try Aura out for 14 risk-free and also money-free days. If it turns out you have been hacked, Aura also offers up to $5 million in fraud insurance.
Oh yeah, that's good, because these abs are worth at least $5 million. I wouldn't want hackers to get my abs. And if they did, I would need that money back so I could get new abs. I don't think I know how fraud insurance works.
Your computer will explode in T-minus however many minutes are left on this video, and counting.
Ah, you bitch! I'm gonna keep watching. And I'm also gonna point a pistol at my crotch, just in case.
That's it, man. Game over, man.
I guess this is an example where, like, this could be a thumbnail.
Yeah. YouTube's gonna love that. You covered in blood, pointing a gun at your cock and ball.
I think you're damn lucky to be alive, kiddo.
So, once again, slow-ass reveal credits reveal the title. But this time it's plural, because sequel, similar to Minions.
Ooh la la.
Hey, Sully.
Get away from her, you bitch!
And also, BitTorrent gave me the special edition of this movie, so shut up if this isn't exactly how you remembered watching it in theaters when the world was younger and pure or whatever. This ain't your grandma's Aliens! Also, Ripley's still cold and asleep in her shuttle when it gets nabbed by a larger ship and boarded by hazmat dudes who are all apparent Dave's descendants, because they're all like, jackpot, almost naked chick. But also, damn, I guess that means we won't be able to salvage anything because she's alive to own it. We descendants of Dave hate space laws.
Looks like she's alive.
There goes our...
Also, interestingly, this chick comes bundled with a naked cat, even though Jonesy definitely had his own pod at the end of the last movie, which means that he broke out, opened her pod, initiated cold sleep, and bedded down for the long sleep. This cat is a super genius.
You make me sick.
Jonesy.
I am positive that Alien Romulus will be about how the main villain of this series is actually Jonesy, whose true name is Alien Romulus. Dave even noted that Romulus is an anagram for Jonesy. Please subscribe to the Patreon so we can finally teach Dave how to read. Ripley wakes up on
Gateway Station,
where everything is as clean and sterile as Dave's multiple bleached holes. And a Wayland Yutani employee named Connor Burke, that's the company that she also worked for, by the way.
Don't let that fool you. I'm really an okay guy.
Walks in and is like, hey girl, what's up? How you doing? Small thing that HR was thinking maybe you could go over. Did you know that you've been in cryo sleep for 57 years?
What?
Meaning that you have become a MILF in your sleep. Isn't that crazy?
How is a MILF?
It's just natural side effects of such an unusually long hypersleep.
But I'm like, wait, so it's 2179? It does not look all that different from 2122, other than coffee cups are now wildly impractical and subject to spillage probably because of advanced space capitalism.
I don't believe this.
Ah, yes. There has been a spillage.
We've been trained to deal with situations like this.
But anyway, Ripley has a heart attack because she's super old now.
MILF alert!
Just one of those things that comes with age, and then an alien explodes out of her chest, which again, is just something you have to deal with in your 70s.
Got MILF?
Every septuagenarian you see is almost certainly being attacked by their heart at any given moment, and also, there may be an alien inside that could come out and bite you, so don't go near 70-year-olds. But do you hear them complaining about it? Yes, actually, they're very whiny in my experience.
I feel hot.
Oh, I feel cold.
I feel godlike and horny.
What?
But then whoops, it was just a nightmare. No! Which is a thing that you only deal with when you're a baby. Adults don't dream. They have jobs that just ring those out. Dreams are for when you're young. What adults do get are sporadic 30-minute cat naps throughout the night between constantly attending to their 3 children who keep calling out, Papa, how are the Patreon and channel memberships doing? I can't sleep until I get the most recent numbers. They're always crying about that in the middle of the night, Dave.
You gotta pull up your analytics.
I'm like, it's fine. It could be better, but you can sleep. Whether you're awake or not doesn't affect whether we'll be able to live another day. Only people signing up could do that. Anyway, actually, Burke's like, hey, we've got a hearing here in a few minutes, and Ripley won't shut up about her dumb daughter and like what she been up to. And Burke is like, she's 66 years old, and also she's dead, but she's childless, meaning that your whole family is now dead.
Is there any word about my daughter?
Well, we did come up with some information.
You don't know. But we have set up a killer emotional arc for you. So, does that make you happy? And now they're in the hearing, and the company is like, I see that you exploded our $44 million spaceship, but we don't actually have any evidence of an alien.
Look at it from our perspective.
And Ripley's all like, I know what I saw. And they're like, okay, well, you're fired from being a space lady guy. And she's like, well, why don't you go check out the planet that we were at? And they're like, lady, people have been living on and terraforming that planet for 20 years. And she's like, what? No!
It's what we call a shake and bake colony.
What?
Shake and bake. This happy little colonist family stumbles upon the alien ship from the first movie, and they're like, oh, shit.
Folks, we have scored big this time.
I bet there are enough eggs on that bitch to feed us for 1,000 years. And they're correct in the sense that daddy gets force-fed an egg by a face f***er. Remember, kids, any amount of a thing is a lifetime supply if the thing kills you.
Dad knows what he's doing.
And one thing that hasn't changed in the last 57 years, they still have not invented space bras.
And really, why would we?
Oh, sometimes no progress is the best progress.
All right, I'm in.
Burke talks to Ripley again and is like, okay, well, this is awkward, but we've lost contact with that colony, and now we think that you may have been right about the whole alien thing, so we want you to come along with a bunch of Marines as a consultant. And she's like, no, I'm pretty sure that my whole they rape your face and explode out of you and kill everything that I said covers the entirety of my expertise in this area. I don't know what else to tell you. But then Burke is like, okay, but doesn't your new job of being a dock loader suck?
There's nothing wrong with it.
And she's like, okay, yes, I'll come with you. Again, the main villain turns out to be capitalism. I'm starting to sense like a pattern here. So now we're aboard the ship, and I am pleased to report that there are more hanging pictures of boobs.
Folks, we have scored big this time.
Yes, Dave, I'm sure that there's a porno magazine somewhere that could presumably choke someone to death if shoved down their throat. I hate that you ask that about every single movie we watch. It's like, just let me watch Inside Out in peace, man.
Sorry.
What should we do? We're gonna...
And also, to anticipate your next question, yes, there are several naked men lying around.
We have scored big.
Anyway, one of them is Bill Paxton. And it's so funny that I primarily know Bill Paxton from more recent stuff like U-571 or Edge of Tomorrow, where he plays serious Army general type characters.
But as a captain, you can't.
Whereas my dad only remembers him as the obnoxious head from basically every major sci-fi franchise in the 80s. Terminator? Head.
My turn.
Predator? Head.
Butt boys.
Alien? You better believe he's a head.
Whoopie fucking do. Hey, I'm impressed.
Speaking of, Kyle Reese is here too. He's going by the name Hicks, and crap. They've got another android on board who's super good at the finger stabbing game. Fortunately, Kyle has some experience with protecting MILFs and fighting robots. And Ripley gets all robophobic.
You never said anything about an android being on board.
But the droid, named Bishop, is like,
I prefer the term artificial person myself.
oh, it's fine. I actually can't malfunction or hurt humans. This does not make Ripley feel better.
I'm shocked.
They do a little pre-mission briefing, and everybody just knows about the aliens?
Is this gonna be a stand-up fight, sir, or another bug hunt?
A xenomorph may be involved.
As if they've done this before, but how? When? I thought the whole reason Ripley was here was because literally nobody else in the galaxy believes in their existence or has encountered one. It's like if Dave said he was gonna marry an amorphous being from outside our solar system who is made entirely of
assholes and elbows.
And I was like, oh, Sarah? God, I hate Sarah. Her asshole to elbow ratio is way off. How do I know about Sarah? And all of her holes and all of her knobs. Are they calling humans that they previously killed bugs? I suppose that checks out for both the corporate and military industrial complexes.
Excuse me, sir. A what?
A xenomorph.
It's a bug hunt.
What's happening? It doesn't matter because I guess we're
ready to get it on.
Specifically, these two lovebirds sink their unwieldy machine gun cocks, and everybody else grabs their slightly less phallic weapons and board dropship. And TIL, all the StarCraft dropship pilot sound bites are from this movie.
I'm so glad you said that.
We're in the pipe. 5 by 5.
They land on the planet, and they find nothing, and the movie ends. Roll credits. Apparently not. And look, I'm no army doctor, but I don't know that I'd put the massive machine gunners on point when clearing tiny ass bedrooms. You need like a shotgun or a pistol or something more wieldy.
Let's guys take point. Let's move!
They never find any human bodies, but they do find alien bodies that I guess the colonists were studying, which I'm gonna say it's a bad idea. Eventually, they stumble upon a boomerangless feral child who lives in the air vents and doesn't like talking and is all out of air vents.
I got her. Ow!
Girl, you nasty.
But Ripley mothers her into revealing her name.
My name's Newt.
I mean, technically her name is Rebecca, but maybe there was a witch in the facility?
Got better.
They ask her where everybody is, and she says what Dave said to the cops when they questioned him yesterday.
They're dead. All right, can I go now?
It did not work. Newt, also like Dave, says you're all gonna die. And Ripley is like, you don't think we can keep you safe? Look at these soldiers' massive dick guns.
These people are here to protect you. They're soldiers.
And Newt is like, that won't be enough. But I am surprised that she isn't just yelling about leaving. They might not be a match for xenomorphs in her estimation, but they have a way off planet, which seems useful. Like, just say, yes, they're all going to kill you. Everybody's dead. You're all gonna die. Let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Go, get the out of here!
I don't know. It's just my thought.
Can I go now?
They track all the colonists' futuristic whatever implants to the facility's big main tower, which was recently redecorated by a Giger interior designer. Man, he just loves that sticky wet.
Nobody touch nothing.
Unfortunately, Ripley last second realizes that if they get into a firefight in here, they'll likely poke a hole in the coolant tanks, which would eventually cause this thing to melt down and set off a nuclear explosion.
You are dealing with something that has never occurred on this planet.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
So they're told that they're not allowed to shoot, which will likely make their job of shooting aliens to death a little more difficult.
What the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
We'll see, bitch.
To make matters worse, the sergeant is like,
All right, sweethearts, you heard the man. Pull him out.
no, I'm just quoting the movie, Dave. They're talking about bullets. I'm not your cousin. Put that thing away.
Stop your grinning and drop your linen.
Nope, scratch that. Reverse it.
Finally, they find the colonists looking like the aftermath of the worst Easter party ever. Just covered in goop, there are eggs everywhere, and only one guy even seems alive. Oh, never mind.
Party sucks.
You suck.
And a million xenomorphs arise from their slumber and attack. And the lady marine named Vasquez is like,
Let's rock!
coolant tanks can suck my butt.
Who's firing? Damn it!
The command marine has no real strategy, so Ripley commandeers their APC thing.
What the hell are you doing?
It is apparently driven pod racer style, and then she rats Tyrell through some walls to the rescue. She saves a handful, but a lot of the soldiers are burned by alien blood or just straight up dead.
What happened to Gorman?
I don't know. Maybe a concussion.
And Ripley is like,
I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit.
In terms of radiation, I'm told it's the equivalent of a chest x-ray.
but company man Burke is like, whoa, we've got a lot of money invested in this place. But when that doesn't convince anybody, he pulls the old, killing these things is genocide card. But nobody is convinced, just like Dave is never convinced when somebody tries that on him. Dave is very pro-genocide. Nobody specifically. He just likes the concept. He thinks it's a good idea in theory. He hasn't found anybody that he wants to genocide, but he's not ruling out that he might one day.
Come on, ease down. Ease down.
I'll take your silence as tacit agreement.
I'm not blind to what's going on, but I cannot authorize that kind of action. I'm sorry.
But Burke is still outvoted and outranked and out tiny panties, I'd assume. He looks like a briefs guy.
I'm not gay.
No offense.
None taken.
So they send for the dropship, but it appears to be a bit, let's say, buggy. Things seem pretty bad.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the are we gonna do now? Fucking suck. Fucking suck.
And they won't be safe for 17 days or so.
17 days?
God, Bill, shut up! So let's find some blueprints so we can come up with a survival plan. They've got some hardcore sentry drones and also Chipotle, and that's really all you need. So they station the sentry guns in some corridors and lock the doors and just let the robots do the dirty work. And I guess they're just hoping that the aliens can't do CAPTCHA very well.
That's it.
But meanwhile, they wonder what I wonder every time I go to the grocery store.
So who's laying these eggs?
And they decide there might be some huge
Badass
queen in charge of doing most of the pooping.
Yeah, the mama.
And Burke is like, tight. We should bring home some of these specimens, sneak them through quarantine, and then we'll all make like a ton of money from studying them. But again, to what end? How would weaponizing them even work? Just dropping aliens behind enemy lines? But then you'd have to wrangle them up, which sounds like a huge hassle. Wouldn't a dirty bomb be a lot more effective? Or do you want to unlock the secret to the alien's DNA and make humans have a tiny extra mouth inside of their regular big mouths? I don't know that that would have gotten us out of Afghanistan any faster or cleaner, but I guess I don't know for sure.
I thought you'd be smarter than this.
The reason we were stuck in that quagmire was because we didn't have little mouths inside of our big mouths. Like, this is always a plot now with monsters, like in Jurassic World. They're like, we're gonna get velociraptors and make them soldiers because they're so smart. Yeah, but so are like soldiers. You know what really changed the tide in Iraq is freaking velociraptors.
These guys are gonna run straight into the enemy's teeth and eat them. What a peaceful world this world would be.
Oh no!
They're coming.
The sentry guns do some damage, but they also run out of ammo super fast.
Jesus. They're wall to wall in there.
Although it feels like with that many dead xenomorphs, wouldn't their blood just like melt the floor and make it borderline impassable, and or give them a new angle on the guns since they can like crawl on ceilings and stuff? I don't know. Hey, remember those coolant tanks? Well, the tower is going to go nuclear in 4 hours. For some reason, they didn't bother to leave anybody on the mothership.
Except for her.
Damn it.
So they need to remote fly the second dropship down here to pick the team up, but the only way to do that is to rig a dish on one of the other buildings, and the only way to do that is to send Bishop through a tiny little claustrophobic pipe. I know that this is the future, and their autopilot is like so good, but if this mission is really so important, it feels like they'd have, I don't know, like a second squad? Man, companies are so stingy.
Yeah, I noticed.
What is this, a large digital media corporation or something? Come on.
Let's just make sure it doesn't come to that.
Newt and Ripley hang out in the lab when, oh God. Facehugger attack. They're locked in the lab because Burke is being a real CEO, which is to say a dick.
Fuck! He's dead.
And they set off the fire alarm.
Only you can prevent.
Which alerts Hicks, who manages to superhero in there and save everybody. Ripley then claims that Burke released the facehugger hoping that it would impregnate Ripley and or Newt, and that then the specimen could be snuck through quarantine inside of them, and Bill just lays into Burke like,
You dog me, pal.
ugh, nothing more badass than calling somebody pal, right? Because it's like, I don't think that you even actually think of them as a pal, so it hurts for you to say that, because really, we're all looking for a pal.
This is so nuts.
Gee willikers.
Hey, pal. For a second, I thought you might think that of me as your pal, but you don't. It just sort of reminds me that I don't have a lot of friends.
It's really sad.
Is it true if an Australian person calls you a that's good?
Yeah, Dave. Every Australian that's called you that, definitely your friend.
What? What?
So they space arrest Burke or whatever, but then the aliens cut the power.
How could they cut the power, man?
An attack from the ceiling, which gives Burke yet another opportunity to betray everybody. Burke! But like Burke, if you kill every single person, it's gonna be very tricky to get home. Not to mention, you'll have to impregnate yourself, which is something Dave has been trying to do to himself like 3 times a day, every day since he was 14, and it still hasn't worked. So I don't like your odds. And look at that, he's dead. Hope the stock options were worth it, bud. Dave, not now. Stop trying to impregnate yourself. It's not possible.
It's pathetic.
It's science.
Then Bill Paxton dies, just like in real life. If I remember correctly, in real life, Bill Paxton was also dragged into the floor by vicious alien killers who crash landed on a strange planet that eventually became a human terraforming colony.
It's really sad.
Ugh, this movie foreshadowing for his life. Newt leads them through the air vents, but Vasquez and the wussy lieutenant are in trouble, and then they explode.
Oh, mommy!
Newt, for her part, falls down an alien laundry chute, so even when they reach the ship, they're forced to fly it straight at the soon-to-go nuclear tower in the hopes that the aliens didn't kill her, but rather merely covered her in goop and impregnated her. Oh, that would be such a relief. As long as we don't see any shirtless xenomorphs wearing jorts, though, we should be okay.
She's all right.
Ripley heads in alone because Hicks reveals his real name.
It's Dwayne.
And there's never been a tough person named Dwayne. Even The Rock took his sweet-ass time moving from The Rock before going full Dwayne, so Hicks/Dwayne, he just takes a nap instead. Ripley grabs a flamethrower and a gun and walks around pre-firing like 14-year-old Dave. Eventually, she hears Newt scream, And Ripley gets her right before she's impregnated, to the faint boos of Mike Pence in the audience, like, boo, she should be pregnant. Mike Pence was not a fan of this film.
I've got access to Mother now, and I'll get my own answers.
But as they turn to leave, they end up in a big-ass egg room. There's so many rooms with eggs in this series. It's like one big fridge. They see the queen looking very royal and shitting just so many eggs. Oh, yes, queen. Shit those eggs, queen.
You dropped this.
And Ripley threatens the eggs, so the queen will call off her goons, but then Ripley is like, just kidding. And she sets all the eggs on fire anyway, even though they're about to succumb to nuclear fire in like 3 minutes. It's like if Samwise took a detour to kick a couple of orcs in the balls while carrying Frodo to the top of the volcano.
I can't carry it for you, but I can.
She's just pissing the queen off for literally no reason. But also, yes, queen. And by that, queen is Sigourney. It's like queen on queen. It's like, queen, yes, So the queen finally hops off the ship and chases them, and they make it back to the ship, and they manage to not be killed by the nuclear explosion, which is a life goal of mine, although we'll see. And back on the mothership, Ripley's like, hey, Bishop, I'm not as robophobic as I was.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, well, thank you. Oh, God. And his chest explodes because the queen somehow managed to sneak aboard like a 15-foot, 2-ton ninja. And my man, he is spraying enough milk to feed all 3 of my children for a year.
I don't want milk. Milk's for babies.
Yeah, babies.
Oh, yeah?
What a waste! I guess I could still feed them if you signed up for my Patreon or channel memberships, or merely subscribe to the channel, or, I don't know, mail me a cheeseburger. We've got options. If I'm gonna sit here sweating to death with a pistol against my crotch, you can at least mail me a cheeseburger. Here! Ripley runs and hops in a mech loader thing and says,
Get away from her, you bitch!
Which is maybe the best one-liner in all of movie history.
We'll see, bitch.
She remote opens an airlock and hucks the queen down there. Except, oops, it balrogs her ass, so she opens the airlock because unlike Gandalf, she cannot just return later as Ripley the White because her tiny engines are already white.
Show yourself!
And the air hole is sucking like crazy. But the queen holds on to Ripley's foot until she doesn't. And also, even though Bishop is only like half a robot dude at this point, he manages to grab Newt so that she doesn't go flying, and then they close the airlock, and then everybody goes to sleep, and like, no biggie, all good.
Sleep tight. Affirmative.
My sensors have detected that you're acting real weird, so we're gonna lock down your part of the spaceship.
What? Why? I'm fine. I just, got a beef and cheddar latched onto my face. It's not a big deal, but, all right, fine. I'll just keep watching the movies.
Yeah, you do that.
Maybe they'll have some insights on how to deal with some of this meat tummy pain I'm having. But, I'm fine. You can let me out soon.
Kiss my ass, you horny old f***er.
Once again, all I could find was the director's cut. I'm sorry. We start with the 20th century production. Oh my God! The music! Something's wrong.
Game over, man.
And indeed, though we get white credits over space again, the movie's title just plops up there with no circumstance, no ceremony, nothing. It's just like, Alien 3! And it's intercut with scenes of Ripley still in cryosleep on the same ship as last movie. But oops, there's also an egg.
I'll offer you a nice egg.
And you figure they would have taken like 10 minutes to double check for any frickin' eggs before Betty Bye? But no, somebody gets face f***ed.
Take my hand. No, get it away from me.
And there are random explosions. And the pod bay gets ejected towards a prison planet. And crash lands in the ocean. And it's hard to track exactly what's going on, but I think that's the gist of it. In the course of the next 2 hours, we will look back on this confusing time as a blessing. This is about as simple as it gets. Then a trash Jedi stumbles upon an oily Ripley butt and carries her back to the prison where everybody is bald, which actually ends up being a pretty major theme of this movie.
Where's your hair?
Talk to me.
And we soon learned that she was the only survivor.
Sorry.
Hicks died.
Never knew what hit him.
Bishop exploded.
There were bits and pieces of him all over the place.
Newt friggin' drowned, which is bullshit because newts are amphibians.
She drowned in her cryotube.
Got better.
This is basically The Last Jedi of the original Alien trilogy. I do like that movie, but it very much has a I hated all your ideas, so I'm changing them vibe.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe they'll all come back in the next Alien. Why are you giving me that look, Dave? That knowing look. As if Dave has watched literally any movie.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
Explain to me what happens in the future of this franchise. You can't!
Aliens.
Not exclusively.
Blow into the hole gently.
Anyway, this is one of those prisons where everybody is super religious now.
Amen.
And also one of those prisons where everybody's celibate.
Give us strength, O Lord, to endure.
Meaning, of all the prisons Dave could end up in, this would be his least favorite. Amen. The inmates are so celibate that they're afraid that having a woman around will infect them all with horny madness. In this franchise, where 69% of the designs are basically dicks.
Just a little cock.
That's true. That makes me happy.
Great. Ripley literally landed on incel Neptune. Also, when she's woken up, it's mansplained by Tywin Lannister that this is technically yet another asset of the
Weyland-Yutani
Corporation. Truly the Walmart of space. No, seriously. It used to have thousands of inmates who smelted a bunch of lead and shit back when everything was fully operational, but currently it's run by a skeleton crew of 22 inmates and 3 custodians, and God knows how many podcasters.
They live on Reddit, they don't leave their basement, and this is what comes out of it.
I've taken a vow of celibacy. That also includes women.
Oh, and by the way, all these incels have double Y chromosome syndrome, which means they all are extra mean and probably own Cybertrucks. Ripley's also told that she has lice and will need to shave her head, and also, yes, Dave, her pubic hair. What?
Attend to your private part.
They make that very clear in the movie.
None of them have seen a woman in years.
That thing is smooth.
Tywin also recommends putting a pause on the whole being naked thing because, again, the incels are restless.
Given the nature of our indigenous population, I would suggest clothes.
And I know this is a prison, but couldn't you give them some anime body pillows to calm them down? Ah, wait, no. In a few days, those things would be so crusty, they'd be able to use them as bludgeons. Man, running a space prison would be challenging. You would be the king of that prison. Your anime body pillow would be like 400 pounds. I feel like dropping an anvil on their head, you know? They'd probably be hiring you to like stiffen up other people's anime body pillows. I know a man who could make that thing.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Ripley notices a xenomorph blood burn on Newt's cryopod, so she asks to see Newt's body so she can inspect it for science. And when pressed further, she's like, I think she has cholera. Which is why I need to poke her body parts. And why you, Tywin, should cut her open and look inside, in case there are any cholera aliens in there.
Cholera?
They find nothing but the disappointment from fans of the previous movie. But Ripley still wants to cremate the bodies just in case, so they do. But they intercut the head religious prisoner's speech with a dead cow giving birth to yet another xenomorph because I guess the cow was face-f***ed by this little guy.
Game over, man.
So exactly how many eggs were on this ship?
50 eggs.
Like seriously, forget 10 minutes. They could have just taken like 1 minute to check for those before they're getting their Astro Beauty sleep. Anyway, huck those bodies in the fire, boys. Why is Ripley allowed at this cremation? They keep making such a big deal about how everybody wants to have sex with her so hard and how her big natural should be quarantined in the infirmary.
You're in no condition for that.
But then they're immediately like, oh, never mind, come to our big child burning party. I mean, on one hand, that does seem like a real boner killer, but on the other hand, incels. I've been to a couple of child burning parties with Dave, and let's just say that his pants could be a bludgeon after.
Oh my God, what?
Too much? No, YouTube guy is gonna have to watch this whole video to see if it's safe for Natty Daddy ads.
You're having to keep peppering this shit, so you gotta watch till they marry him.
Again, he's like, I don't know. Realistically, it's like probably a guy in India like, I don't know what it means really, and I don't think I want to know. So, sure. Oh, and also, Ripley, how about you come eat lunch with literally all of us? Maybe she thinks she'll be safe just because she shaved her head, but that's a pretty outdated notion, Ripley.
Shampooing a woman's head is the most erotic thing you could ever
No. And besides, they all know that you also shaved your pubis, Ripley. We all heard it. Also, weirdly, this guy introduces himself to her exactly like Dave did to me when we met for the first time.
I'm a murderer and rapist of women.
Sorry. So now you know why we're friends. Because I was afraid of what he'd do to me if I didn't become his friend. Help me now! Anyway, somewhere else in the facility, one of the inmates mops and wonders the age-old question, hey, what do you think would would happen if I stuck my head in this dark, slimy hole? And apparently the answer is an alien will spit in your eye and make you slip and fall into a fan, makes your whole body explode. Which is the worst way that question could have been answered. There are some slimy holes that I put my face up against where it goes a lot better than that. I don't always make babies, Dave. Sometimes I make love. But while that guy explodes in the air vent, my man Tywin explodes in Ripley.
Perhaps I should give you one of my special compliments.
Woo! Yeah!
You're spoiling the mood.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I? Why don't you...
Kiss my ass, you horny old fucker.
Okay. Sorry, I think I caught a mild case of Dave's horny incel space madness. The important thing is Tywin has sort of gone along with Ripley's cholera thing.
Cholera?
Yes, and stop asking questions.
Even though he knows that can't possibly be the full story, and though Ripley asks him why he's got a barcode tattoo on his head, he doesn't want to tell her yet. He claims he's not a prisoner, though. Probably just a huge fan of the Hitman games.
That does deserve an explanation.
He's then called into the head custodian's office, which is stocked with another type of futuristic coffee mug. Like, wow! The future! And the custodian is mad because he's like, that guy who exploded probably did so because his erect penis took valuable blood from his brain. And I said that in a sillier way than he did, but that's like, literally, that's the point that he's making.
What happens when one of these dumb sons of bitches walks around with a heart on?
It's not clear why that's Tywin's fault exactly, but I guess everybody's just horny and tense, which does have one obvious solution. But just don't let them watch any of my videos because, whew, they would get so hot and then they would, I don't know, jump into fans maybe. Ripley is still worried that they maybe brought an alien with them, and I think her intuition on this is probably right on. So she tries to procure the ship's flight recorder, but there aren't any speakers anywhere, so she can't listen to it.
We don't have anything like that here.
At this point, we're probably on the 3,000th proprietary Apple dongle. In the future, nothing's gonna connect to shit. But then she remembers, oh yeah, Bishop has a mouth hole that has non-Dave uses, and that's kind of like a speaker, and you can plug shit into his head, so she collects what's left of him, but before she can plug him in, she's beset upon by a whole gaggle of horny dudes. But they only manage to get so far as putting on their space jizz splashback goggles before the head religious guy from Rudy, literally, it saves our literal butt. Anyway, Ripley scampers away and finally manages to turn Bishop on. In the computer sense, not in the space incel sense. They can't turn anyone on. He wakes up and is like, yo, what up, girl?
I like your new haircut.
And she's like, thanks, dog. Hey, was there an alien on board with us? And he's like, you know it, player. And she's like, damn, my guy. And he's like, for sure, for sure. Hey, can you turn me off forever, G-Unit? I'm a real shitty little robot now, and I would prefer to just stay dead. And she's like, most definitely, my man. By the way, hey, Hollywood, I am available to punch up really any script dialogue, especially if you need an authentic, youthful vibe for your script.
How do you do, fellow
Screenwriter/bartender.
Elsewhere, in a random cave tunnel, 3 other prisoners are attacked. 2 die. 1 doesn't. But unfortunately, that one is the bad crazy one, and he won't stop talking about a dragon.
What's the dragon?
The racist dragon.
And between that, Tywin, and all the sexual assaults, I think we can safely call Alien 3: Game of Thrones in space.
If you insist.
But they assume he's crazy and that he probably killed the other 2 guys, and it doesn't help his case that after witnessing the insane, brutal murder of 2 of his friends, his first action was to eat like so much cereal. Like the world's least effective Captain Crunch commercial.
Hold on to your teeth.
Also, he literally never gets the blood washed off his face. Multiple days, he's just sitting there with goop caked on like the world's least effective Goop commercial. Does Goop have commercials?
Yes, that is a vibrator.
But did you know that the vagina candle thing was just a joke that everybody took seriously?
I didn't know that. That's pretty fun.
She made a joke in a talk show. She's like, it smells like my vagina. Ha 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 ha. Everybody laughed.
Women have been taught to have a certain degree of shame or embarrassment about their body. And so if you just light a candle that says, this smells like my vagina, and, put it on the coffee table, it's a little bit of a punk rock statement. And we have a new one.
Emerald.
Called...
What is it called?
And of course, somebody desperate for clicks was like, what? It smells exactly like Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina. And everybody's like, that's crazy. And then that became the story for like the rest of time.
It's funny how modern media works.
Ripley, of course, believes the crazy guy, just like she believes that candles are made out of vagina smells, and is like, we really need to kill this thing.
It's important.
And they're like, well, that'll be tough, considering we don't have any weapons.
You have no weapons of any kind?
Do we need them?
So how about instead, we just choose not to believe you, and we lock you in the infirmary, like I said I was going to do at the beginning of the movie, but then never enforced it in any way whatsoever, but now I'm going to do it.
You're
So they do it, but Ripley is feeling a little sick to her tummy, which I'm sure is nothing. And Tywin is like, okay, here's my backstory. I was a really good, if a bit addicted to morphine doctor, which, same.
Welcome to the club.
And one day, after a long shift, I also got crazy drunk. And then they called me back into work and I overdosed like 11 patients.
Sorry.
Which is like a doctor's dozen. Fakers try and give you more, and doctors try to give you less because they're killing you with morphine. And well, then I got sent to prison here. And even when my sentence ended, I decided to stay because it wasn't like anybody was gonna hire me anywhere else, which, minus the prison part, is how I ended up doing these videos.
Well, it's understandable given the circumstances.
And Ripley is like, wow, that's sad. The only thing that'd make this story sadder is if, I don't know, if at the end of it, you were massacred by an alien or something. But that'd be... Oh! Interestingly, the alien doesn't mess with Ripley, nor with the crazy guy. Probably because they really needed this dope-ass shot for the trailer. And because she's really sweaty and he's covered in goop still, and ew, yucky. Maybe it's like a predator situation and the alien can't see you if you're all gooped up. Dave, goop up and see if any aliens... Why are you already covered in goop?
Sorry.
Ripley runs to tell everybody what's going on, but the head custodian is like, I still don't believe you. Yoink! So now everybody believes. Then they put Ripley in charge, and she's like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use fire to drive it into a large waste tank where we can just lock it in forever.
No need to be sarcastic.
I wasn't. That's the literal plan. I guess this is as good a time as any to mention that this custodian is nicknamed 85 because just like the exec that greenlit this movie, that's his IQ. Also, again, I ask, how do people know their IQ? Have my parents been hiding it from me?
Sorry.
I'm assuming they did that because it's so high. I'd let it all go to my head. That's why I don't know my IQ. My parents were like, if he knew how smart he was. How do people know their IQ?
You take an IQ test?
Yeah, but I'm not going to take it on like IQ test and Cox.com or whatever. Like, where are you going to go that's legit? BigNaturalsIQ.com.
Yeah, that's the one I took. I did great.
I take it every day. The prisoners get to work rigging a bunch of barrels of highly flammable toxic waste everywhere. Which seems fine, except the plan relies very heavily on nobody accidentally dropping, say, a flare. And what do you know? To be fair, he was attacked by an alien, but A, that's the whole thing. There's an alien. You might get attacked. And B, the whole damn planet explodes.
Etc. Mashed potato!
Feels like maybe they should have waited to distribute the flares until after they finished rigging the flammable barrels. I've never seen so many fiery bodies flying through the air, and I was at Dave's graduation party. But actually, it's all fine, because Ripley's would-be rapist sacrifices himself to lure the alien into the impenetrable drunk tank. So the plan worked. Steve-O! And I'm so glad his character was redeemed. I would hate if they just said the rapist guy was a bad guy. I'm glad to know that he's complex. Also, I'd like to go on record and say that this rotoscoped green screen bullshit alien is the worst idea that anybody's ever had. It looks laughably terrible. It's utter bullshit, which I guess it sort of technically is, considering who its mother was.
The cow exploded.
Sort of like how laughably adorable my children look, which makes sense considering who their father was. I mean, is. Did you know I have a Patreon? Dave, have I mentioned yet that I have a Patreon or that we've turned on YouTube channel subscriptions yet? I just can't remember. Anyway, so they've got it captured and they receive word that Weyland-Yutani is sending help, but Ripley is highly skeptical that they'll actually kill the damn thing considering every movie is about them not wanting to do that.
What if they don't want to kill it?
Fool me alien once? Shame on me. Fool me alien cubed? Also shame on me. So they send a message to the company about how they're totally gonna kill it, even though they can't, actually.
Hey, wait a minute. We can't kill it. We don't have any weapons, right?
And the company is like, whoa, chill out. Don't do that. Come on, that's crazy. What if you get hurt? Just don't. We'll do it, guys. Don't worry about it. We'll do it. And Ripley is like, well, I feel terrible. I'm gonna go get scanned by the computer on our little escape pod. I sure hope it doesn't reveal that I've been impregnated by a face hugger or something in my sleep. Ah, shit.
Then you've got one inside of you.
I was not expecting that, but she is, because expecting is another word for pregnant. I'm an English major. Although in all seriousness, should she be dead by now? Kane barely got 3 bites into his first conscious meal before exploding everywhere and ruining the idea of chili for everyone forever. She's been here for quite a while. Maybe she did actually like poop it out or something? Has anybody checked the prison toilets? Oh, by the way, the crazy dude apparently put all his points into charisma because he convinces somebody to just let him go free.
And are you friend?
And he immediately runs and frees the alien from the drunk tank after killing the guard. Damn. That's why Dave always says we need to lock up everybody with ADHD. You just never know. Also, predators might want to purchase them, or maybe that's people with ADD. I'm sorry. The lore of these franchises is very confusing.
You know, a lot of experts say that being on the spectrum isn't really a disorder. It's actually the next step in the evolutionary chain.
So now the prisoners reconvene again to talk again, because this is the assembly cut.
Assembly.
Which means more talking, maybe. I never saw the original, though I don't think anyone else did either. They're all like, man, I can't wait for the company squad to get here. And Ripley is like, bad news, they'll probably kill you. And they're like, shit, what should we do then? And the main religious guy is like, maybe we could all stab the alien?
You got a blade and you take it out and you fucking use it!
And then one other guy is like, oh, wait, what if we tricked it into the furnace? And everybody's like, okay, now we're talking. I like this guy. He's got ideas.
By burning 3 different types of meat together, the Tracy Jordan meat machine takes bread out of the equation.
It's a metaphor.
The basic plan then becomes, I guess, to have it sort of chase everyone around like a Scooby-Doo montage until eventually it ends up in this tunnel thing and Ripley can activate a big piston that'll shove it into a big mold thing where they can dump hot lead on it.
Piston's gonna push the motherfucker right into the penis.
It won't hurt her because she's carrying its new queen. And is that why it's taking so long to come out? What a diva. Not everybody is immediately on board until Ripley uses some very convincing, harsh language.
They think we're crud.
Whoa, Ripley! This is a family film. Now they execute the plan via 1,000,000 upside-down shots of POV, you're a cow alien chasing bald dudes down an endless series of tunnels. You kill one. And then another. And another one. And then somehow you jump over a closing door, but you're upside down. It's not how gravity works. You can't jump like that, you idiot.
Yeah, gravity sucks.
If you propel yourself into the air, you fall to the ground. I'm starting to think that maybe this movie is dumb.
There's nothing for sure in this place.
I'm sorry it took me so long to realize. I think maybe I'm dumb too, but I don't actually know because my parents are hiding things from me. What if I'm dumb, Dave? Are these videos not very smart? Oh no!
Look at you.
What do you mean? Wait, is this not how intelligent people present things? Oh no! Has your mom just been letting me hang out in her basement for years, but she doesn't even believe in the content? Oh wait, then another guy dies. So I'm back in it, baby. It's smarter than anyone who's ever lived. Oh my God, wait, is that? It is, Dave, it's another dead guy. Then Ripley slap fights with the alien for a surprisingly long time before eventually slapping it into the mold thing. And she's like, okay, let me die with this thing because, you know, I'm impregnated with the alien queen.
I'm telling you, I want to die.
And the main religious guy is like, no. I'm a black supporting character in a horror film. Let me sacrifice myself.
Now get going!
Which makes literally no sense at all. Look, if you want to die, that's your thing, friendo. It's a free prison planet.
Friendo.
But Ripley definitely has to RIP Lee because there's no world in which he can live. Whatever, he does the thing anyway.
I'm gonna hold it here.
And it's like, oh my God, I guess the alien's dead. Whoops, it pops back up. So instead they spray it with sprinkler water and it explodes. Because of science.
Hail science!
But oh no, now the corporate dudes show up and they're led by the human man who invented Bishop and therefore looks exactly like him and doubly therefore could totally have sex with his own milky mouth hole if he wanted, but he doesn't yet.
I'm very human.
And he's like, it's all good, baby girl. Let's get you inside our med bay and we'll cut that thing out of you, no problem. And then we'll kill it because yuck, that thing's gross. And the surgeon is like, yeah, that surgery, it'll take like 2 hours tops. It's very routine.
You'll be out for 2 hours.
And besides the fact that they're clearly lying about wanting to kill it, how do they even know what it would hypothetically take to extract it? This is a surgery that's never been done before, yeah? And they don't even really have any medical data on the other times that people were infected because they all exploded in the first movie and they never even got home in the second. I mean, illegal bioweapons research and sacrificing human lives for profit is one thing, but misleading people about the duration of a medical procedure? That is a new low. None of it matters anyway because Ripley is like, nah, bitch, and she plops her pregnant ass right in the lava. And believe me when I tell you that this scene looks like shit, because I know what it looks like in other better movies. Not Bishop even tells this random camera guy they've brought along to stop filming. No pictures! And then they shut the whole planet down because all of it was just too horrible. It was too shitty. Just throw all the footage of the stupid ass experience in the fake looking lava fire and just be done with it. Oh, not feeling great. Not feeling. What in the... It's fine. I had a backup clone made. It's not as beefy, but it'll get the job done. And I should probably just keep watching those movies in case that alien child / murder comes back for me. So...
She's operating at a completely adult capacity.
The movie wastes no time in letting us know what we're in for with a dog shit CG alien that's actually just a bug. It's squished by a guy who's like, that's yucky. Oh! And then he spits it like a spitball through a straw, which coincidentally feels like how this franchise is going. And we pull out to see he's actually on a big dog shit CG spaceship. And then the title pops up super fast in a manner one could only compare to that of shit from a dog. And I think that's actually how you can tell if it's going to be a good alien movie or not. If it's a slow title reveal, you're good. If it's just like, slap, alien, big wet space time, then I don't know. Watch all my videos again. Those are better, probably. Some are good. I don't know. I'm biased. Anyway, this ship is some kind of military medical research thing. Stop me if I'm getting too technical for you.
Wish you could understand what we're trying to do here.
And like any good military medical research thing or any bad room in Dave's basement, it's full of naked things and tanks. And oh, okay, I guess that's Ripley, who we last saw goleming into a fire pit. Remember what I said earlier? Magic resurrections, baby! Oh my god, nothing matters.
Somehow...
They're doing surgery on her to remove a xenomorph. Did they put one in her or what?
Yeah, we're just messing around.
Careful.
After surgery, they dress her in their finest trash bag and throw her in a hole. The old hole! And we know things are a little off because she has a tattoo of an 8 and her fingernails are a little greener and longer than one might expect. A scientist comes in to inspect her boobies and is like,
oh, this is good.
And then she chokes him, but not in the good way. And they're forced to shotgun zap her.
Keep an eye on your aim and do your best. Good shooting.
They test her more and are like, wow, she's at a
completely adult capacity.
Which just made Dave gag. But also she's got memories from her former self.
Inherited memories passed down generationally at a genetic level by the aliens like its strength.
And I'm not like 95% sure that this movie is the direct inspiration for Poor Things. Like I think Poor Things is just an Alien Resurrection remake. And that's canon, I think.
Close. Glove.
This whole time.
Let's try this one.
Stop saying that!
The onboard general is like, okay, well, I'm glad she's an adult, but historically, Ripley has been super anti-xenomorph, and I don't want her interfering with the fact that we've also grown a new queen here.
I'm not anxious to see her taking up her old hobbies.
And they're like, totally get it, boss. You like adult human women, but you don't want this one to interfere with your adult alien woman.
Her Majesty here is a real
hot mommy.
And to be clear, yes, she's a Ripley clone grown from blood samples spattered about all over the prison from the last movie.
Where you died.
Wait,
I'm dead.
Yeah. And that's also how they grew the xenomorph inside her? That's not how cloning works, right? I mean, it wouldn't also clone the xenomorph if you grew her back in the same way it wouldn't grow back that entire Chipotle burrito that Dave shoved in his ass the other day before dying. And again, I would know because Dave is canonically an endless series of clones.
Sorry.
And it's apparently 200 years since the last film, which combined with the 57-year cryosleep between part 1 and 2 means that these dumb space dildos have been obsessing with harnessing xenomorph for a quarter of a millennium. You have robots. Let that go.
I prefer the term artificial person myself.
It's like if Comcast in the internet age was obsessed with harnessing the power of the telegraph, except the telegraphs also had acid in their wires and exploded out of people's chests.
Go f yourselves.
Robots are so much better than xenomorphs. This is probably the reason we learned that Weyland-Yutani is no more, because they've been literally
bought out by Walmart.
So I guess Walmart became the Walmart of space. Cool. Elsewhere, this commercial freighter flown by horny pilots.
No matter how many times you see at the side of a woman all strapped up in a chair like that, just
makes me do diarrhea in my pants.
Yeah. And also horny mechanics. And also a dude with secret arm guns that I'm sure is at least a little horny.
Yeah.
And a monkey man who's so horny it hurts. Docs with the military medical research thing. Oh, we must be in the future because instead of mother,
I am father.
Hello, Daddy.
I can't wait for the next sequel to have a computer named
Uncle Buck.
The ship's captain is paid in stacks of cash by the general for his cargo, and it's revealed this place is super off the books, which makes sense. They're growing Sigourney Weavers and back to tanks. You can't be doing that in the back of a Walmart. I mean, you can, and they almost certainly are, but you shouldn't.
Everybody wants to talk to the mother of the Walmart baby.
I doubt that.
That cargo, by the way, is a bunch of people in cryosleep who are forced to get egg on their faces. And for my foreign viewers, getting egg on your face is an English idiom meaning getting face by a crab until you're pregnant with a man-sized bug lizard. English is a weird language, but it's all we got, at least until Dave finishes Duolingo. Elsewhere, this horny scientist ogles one of the many xenomorphs they have in cages. I mean, his ponytail's just quivering. And when one of the xenomorphs gets a little rough, he punishes it with freezing gas or whatever. I mean, God. This is basically just 50 Shades in space. I love it.
No, you're not putting those in my butt.
But anyway, the civilians intend to chill on board for a few days, and they soon meet Ripley, who is like, slam dunk, dribble, dribble, can't touch this.
She is severely fuckable, ain't she?
Ripley beats up Ron Perlman, and a few other crew members attack her, but she soundly defeats them and then makes an IRL no-look shot. Look, this movie was made in 1997. There's no movie at that time that was safe from the galaxy-shattering influence of Space Jam. Most of you probably don't even remember that part of Saving Private Ryan where Tom Hanks nails a deep 3 right after shooting a Nazi in the throat. It's only in the director's cut.
I mean, it's like the xenomorph is to the Space Jam Monstars.
Exactly. It's a 1-to-1.
Space Jam.
It's a sexy bunny rabbit.
How you doing?
Hello.
How about a little one-on-one? What do you say?
You want to play a little one-on-one?
It's the same movie. What's the difference?
The team cools off from this rad encounter with a nice horny foot massage. As one does, and as I expect as soon as we're finished filming the scene, Dave. My dogs are barking. Dave. One of the mechanics / another actor that's too good for this movie, Winona Ryder, cools off by getting drunk and wandering off by herself.
I'm so sorry.
She has a bunch of smells on a keychain.
Thank you.
And uses one to break into Ripley's hole with the intention of killing her, possibly with lethal farts on the keychain. I don't know.
You gonna kill me or what?
Wow, somebody's a sore loser. Maybe step up your weak-ass court game instead of going right to homicide. She probably wishes...
There's no point, is there?
She doesn't kill Ripley, however, because there's no longer a xenomorph inside of her, though she does mention that Ripley has been dead for 200 years. But regardless, do you want to help me kill some xenomorphs? And Ripley's kind of meh about it, but Winona is immediately caught and accused of space terrorism.
Do you know what the penalties for terrorist activity are?
A really big hug.
And they grab the rest of the crew, and they're like, we're totally gonna kill you guys. But instead, except for one guy who's like, you're all under arrest! I know we just said we were going to execute you, and then you killed everybody in here, so you're probably unlikely to comply, but don't try anything!
Drop that piece of shit! Or I blow his head off!
Like, for example, don't try ricocheting a bullet around the room until it hits me in the head! Ah!
I specifically asked you not to do that.
All this arresting gives a couple, I assume married xenomorphs in a single cage, the opportunity to murder their third.
Full swap is when you...
Take that, liberals! Which causes its acid blood to melt through their cell, giving them a chance to escape and call next on the basketball court. God. Ugh. Space Jam.
Security! There is a serious problem.
I cannot believe the scientists didn't protect against this possibility. Xenomorphs love basketball. Even if a xenomorph just accidentally cut themselves shaving or reading a book too fast, this would have been a huge problem. Maybe this facility is off the books because they're so stupid?
After hundreds of years.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it turns out Tupperware works great.
Rip Ponytail. The extremely hairy general wakes up and Ripley escapes, and a wheelchaired member of the crew shoots his shotgun a truly hilarious number of times. And a security dude gets frozen to death by an alien reenacting their favorite type of movie death, as seen in Terminator 2, Demolition Man, and Goldeneye, among others. Every movie around this time period had people getting frozen and then shattered. All xenomorphs are action movie cinephiles. Just wait until they start trying to kill Ripley with a pencil after seeing John Wick. Then the alien movies are gonna get good.
You stabbed the devil in the...
The military people attempt to evacuate, but a xenomorph gets in one of the escape pods, so the hairy general hucks a grenade in there to kill everybody before he himself is killed. It's all going to crap, really. Amidst all this, the crew reunites and runs for their ship, but the captain guy wanders slowly down a hallway for 5 minutes for no clear reason until... Dang it, he dies! If only this could have been avoided by just not doing it.
Really?
But then Ripley pops up from underneath that dude, kills a xenomorph, and says what I say every time Dave takes me fishing.
Who do I have to to get off this boat?
Apparently she's got some xenomorph DNA, but it's fine, because still...
She comes.
Oh, and then Santa Claus pops up?
Who are you expecting? Santa Claus?
Well, kind of. I don't know. It's 200 years later. I don't know if it's Christmas time or not. He could show up.
Butt crack Santa?
They realize the ship is headed for Earth, so they decide to explode it before evacuating. But also Ripley finds a room with all previous Ripley attempts, and they look rough, like faces of meth photo progression rough. But I think we should appreciate that it apparently only took 8 tries to make a completely perfect human clone that has spliced in xenomorph DNA and also some of the original's memories.
Was it everything you hoped for?
I mean, 8 tries is nothing. It takes me more tries than that to create a human the regular way. That's right, Dave. I've had sex 24 times, give or take, on average. That's because I have 3 children. Support me on Patreon so I can afford another 8 attempts.
No more, no less.
I'm not a machine. Ripley is not as impressed by this, however, and after she finds a particularly fucked up clone who says,
Gladly.
She flamethrowers everything in the room for so long, it seems almost intentionally hilarious. And also, it's like a needlessly painful death. She's like, I'm gonna put them out of their misery by setting them on fire. Now you don't have to suffer anymore.
That's so much worse.
I'm like, surely there's like a drug you could give them, or just shoot them in the head.
And waste of ammo.
He puts the gun down, picks up the flamethrower. They're just all, puts the flamethrower down, picks up like pliers.
Yeah, she's like pulling all their teeth.
What's the big deal, man?
Fun fact, this movie's director's very next movie was Amelie.
This is Amelie.
She is severely f***able, ain't she?
And to be fair, Alien Resurrection could totally be an Amelie prequel.
Yeah, it's the same shit.
Or no, wait, I guess it's a sequel because it's the year 2400 or whatever. That's Amelie set in the future. Have you seen Amelie?
Yeah.
What a delightful film.
You know what's crazy in Amelie? I mean, it was a really good movie, but when she like mercy killed that guy with a flamethrower, I thought
That's
was
right.
pretty crazy.
He's like, do you like chocolate? She's like, I like f***ing flames. Then they do yet another side quest and find one of the experimented on boys is still alive, the ones that they brought on their ship as cargo. Though he's definitely pregnant because gender equality. We've brought the alien movies into the 90s.
He's got one inside of him.
We're all equal now.
I can smell it.
And they're like, let's just bring him along in case we can get him some help later. Which, actually, that's a pretty terrible idea.
You were not leaving him here.
And that started COVID.
They are never going to get off this ship if they keep getting distracted by every random pregnant NPC or dungeon along the way. This isn't Skyrim, you idiots.
Hey, you. Finally.
I'm pregnant again. And in a few hours, it's gonna burst its way through your...
But okay, they find a hole that they need to enter because maybe there's some sick loot down there. But this forces handicapped guy to get strapped to secret gun guy like C-3PO in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, just like old times.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the hole, they find the wettest spaceship room yet. But that's immediately one-upped by this record-setting wet-ass kitchen. Ugh, somewhere Stilgar is having a heart attack.
This is sacred.
I don't like it.
Yes, chef.
Two xenomorphs attack, naturally, though one is instantly grenaded. The other grabs the horny pilot who's getting grabbed in the intro.
Yeah.
She came, she got grabbed, then she got grabbed again. Gone too soon.
Darling, it is done.
They reach the end of the wet, but there's a bunch of goop blocking the hole, which if I had a nickel, right, Dave? Gonna need at least 8 attempts to get through that. My experience is indicative in any way. But even worse, there are a bajillion eggs on the other side once they finally pound their way through the goop, which again, give me a nickel for every time that has happened to me, Dave. You don't get 3 kids without some goop and some holes. There's a lot of eggs involved. But unlike most of my 24 attempts, this one comes with attacks by a bajillion facehuggers, but it's fine because King Ricochet manages to ricochet grenades, I guess. Very cool. Quick medical question. How fast do xenomorphs lay eggs? There's like 30 eggs in here. I'm lucky if I get 2 or 3 out in a full day, much less in a couple hours.
I can 50 eggs.
Yeah, but in how long?
The hour.
Oh no! The one who could presumably answer that question, one of the random scientists, can't answer that question because he's betraying Winona Ryder and shooting her so hard that she falls back into the wet hole.
You really are way too trusting.
Now, I get that betrayals can be interesting from a plot perspective, but this makes no sense. Like, what advantage does he gain with this betrayal?
50 eggs.
If he's just hoping they won't self-destruct the ship and its research, he's gonna have to do a lot more than simply scamper away. Nobody was personally upset with him. There's no reason to believe he'd face any repercussions or anything. He just sort of does it because, yeah, you gotta do something, you know?
What's the like?
What's worse, a Xeno attacks from below, forcing Perlman to dangle upside down and shoot at pistols akimbo. Which is kind of cool. Oh, never mind. That killed it. The vibe and the alien. Turns out even in death, xenomorphs have mad forearm strength because they work the total body, not just the gland muscles. So to avoid dragging his handicapped friend to his death, King Ricochet unbuckles himself, plopping him and his alien foot ornament into the wet hole. So sad. Oh, and remember what I said about Winona Ryder dying? Turns out that she's fine. Don't worry about it.
You took it in the chest, I saw it.
Death is an illusion, both in movies and real life, especially if you, like her, are a robot. A robot designed by robots, even.
Robots designed by robots, right? Tight, yeah!
A robot squared. A square robot. A toaster. Toast with butter. I gotta stop writing these on an empty stomach.
I should have known.
But anyway, why are you obsessed with cultivating wet, snarly space bugs when you could build Winona Rybots?
I'm disgusting.
Yeah, like you never f***ed a robot.
I don't know, but this reveal makes one of the security guys tagging along with them get so excited he goes full Tuco.
Man, I never thought that I would see one. Blue, yellow, pink. Whatever, man, just keep bringing me that.
But Ripley is like, tight. Well, we could plug you into the ship's computer so you could self-destruct everything. And Winona is like, okay, but I won't like it.
I don't want to go in there.
And like, nobody cares, robot lady. There are too many characters for us to care about any individual one and their problems. That's why I just have to keep being like, oh yeah, here's Tuco Salamanca. There goes Grabby Lady. It's too much. There's too many people. I can't come up with things. They don't come up with things in the movie. I can't come up with things talking about the movie. Anyway, she plugs in and summons the aliens on the betrayer scientist.
Intruder on level 1. All aliens, please proceed to level 1.
which I don't know why they'd listen to her. And it wasn't until just now that I noticed that she's got Blade Runner-esque glowing eyes. Nice. Tight. Well done, director of Amelie.
Merci.
Winona also sort of hand-wavy explains that she found out about all of this research stuff when she hacked the mainframe, which motivated her to become a member of the other ship's crew and come here to kill Ripley. So that's what she's did.
Why did you come here?
To kill you, remember?
Oh my God, sweetie, I totally forgot.
And Ripley's like, I've heard stranger things. And also, she can't get the ship to explode itself, so she's gonna have to force it to crash. And Ripley's like, tight, sounds good. Like season 4 of Stranger Things. Your boos mean nothing to me, internet. If you're still watching, you've already bought in. Who cares if my jokes make no sense?
God, I'm so tired.
So now they're walking again, and whoops! Ripley gets dragged down into a controversial alien orgy.
Well, down here.
It's not right.
Look, I'm not saying I would participate, but I think love is love, you know? They leave her to the tentacles.
All around me, in me.
Board their ship and, oh no, the evil scientist is there, and everybody yells at each other and they point guns until...
Begging your pardon, sir, but you.
Oh, right. There's a guy who's pregnant with a chest burster gestating inside him, and he starts gestating like crazy, and he attacks the scientist. And then when the alien pops out, they shoot it. Hey, back to Ripley for a second. Turns out that the ponytail guy, he never died. He's just sort of carbonated in goop so he can offer a bit more exposition.
There are no eggs.
So who's laying these eggs?
And he explains that the queen here got some of Ripley's human DNA, and so her reproductive system is more human. No more eggs. Probably more compatible with Dave's equipment too, which is good news for at least one of us. But then, where did all the eggs come from? They literally just ran into like 30 eggs. If she didn't crap out those eggs, who did? Is there an evil chicken alien hybrid on board? Is it delicious? Who knocked her up? Dave.
Sorry.
Whatever, the queen shits out a freaky-ass human hybrid baby thing, complete with tiny boobies. Dave, stop smacking your lips, I can hear it. It doesn't like its mom, and is like, Ripley is my mom now.
Look, beautiful, beautiful little baby.
Also, I just realized that this dude is Grima Wormtongue, so I'm gonna kill him too.
Why do you lay these
eggs?
Ripley escapes and super jumps onto the other ship before it leaves, except whoops, turns out that her freaky ass baby is also on board. And he helps close a malfunctioning hatch, and he's just adorable. Well, not to Tuco, I guess. But before he can go hog wild, Ripley shows up and utilizes many skills that she learned down in that alien orgy pit. Because I guess aliens come with an electric complex, then she uses her slightly acidic blood to poke a hole in the hole, which causes the baby to get its entire body sucked through its own asshole. It is shockingly gnarly. Then the main ship crashes into Earth and causes a massive, massive explosion that probably killed 1 million people, but it looked like it crashed in Africa, so no corporate mega conglomerate cares. And also Earth in general just looks like shit.
So this is Earth.
Well, it sucks.
So maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe everybody's dead. I don't know. Winona is like, well, do you want to run away together, Ripley? And Ripley, much like audiences, is like, ah.
You're the new asshole model they're putting out?
I actually don't know if that movie helped me learn anything. Whoa, look at these cave paintings. You are descended from a guy who drank Natty Light and then died. Well, that explains some things. Wait, there's also something. I think that's maybe the entire plot of Prometheus. Let me see if I can translate. Uh-oh, 20th century logo is blue and moody. Even moodier, a big-ass spaceship drops off a Palpatine-looking son of a bitch who's even paler but way more jacked at the top of a waterfall, proving that chasing them is actually pretty easy. He then drinks something from a gooey space pomegranate, which causes him to disintegrate. That's not good. That's why I don't eat fruit. Also, slow title reveal means we're about to get a good movie. And indeed, now we watch a woman slowly uncover an ancient glory hole built by Dave's ancestors. Although, granted, she totally ruins it by making the hole way too wide for even the chodiest chode, and reveals a cave with 35,000-year-old cave paintings, most of which probably translate to "for a good time, visit cave number 76.
I think they want us to come and find them.
And have sex with them.
But one depicts a big dude pointing at stars, and they're like, oh man, that's just like the other paintings of big dudes pointing at stars? And Dave just mouthed ancient butt stuff code. I don't think so.
You gotta be kidding me.
Spaceship! While the majority of people sleep the big cryo sleep, one dude wanders around biking, basketballing, space jamming, if you will, learning languages, and watching Lawrence of Arabia. Oh! Basically, he's just a dude being a guy, you know? This is what I was like before I got married.
Perfect.
That was real! It was wild. But as they approach the destination, everybody goes through my regular morning routine of waking up, puking,
We're here, baby.
and saying hello to my 15 other bedmates.
Perfectly normal.
Except for hot-ass, wet-ass Charlize Theron. Because she's already up and she's doing push-ups and she's poking nip. I assume because it's Christmas. This is a Christmas movie after all. And that's my present.
What the hell is that?
It's Christmas.
Might want to make your way down.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Gosh, I love Christmas.
Charlize gives a speech to the crew and is like, okay, actually, here's a dead old man named Wayland, as in Weyland-Yutani. Although in this movie, the company seems to just be called
Wayland Corporation.
Who is Yutani then? I don't know. But the old man hologram is like, I'm recording this on June 22nd, 2091. So exactly 5 years from when you're watching this video, if my plan worked. But also, for you shit people, if you're watching this, I'm dead. LOL.
Please, don't touch my dick when I'm dead.
May I rest in peace.
Also, that baller who loves Peter O'Toole,
His name is David. Unfortunately, he is gay. That would require the one thing that David will never have. 2 penises!
and he's basically my son, if my son was an immortal robot. So, you know, just like my son.
Robot.
The two scientists, Charlie, who ironically crushes as a cyborg man in Upgrade,
See that.
and Shaw from the intro,
Maybe older.
should be considered effectively in charge, and now they're gonna continue the presentation with more PowerPoint stuff. The two of them are like, cool, yeah, well, all those big men pointing at stars pictures can be found across several different cultures that otherwise had no contact. Hashtag living in the moment, hashtag being present.
Egyptian, Sumerian, Babylonian, Mayan.
And the star system in question couldn't possibly have been observed by humans that far back, and furthermore, that particular system has a pretty decent sun and a planet that could support life, and with enough time and plastic straws, we could destroy that planet too.
No.
Yeah.
And conveniently, that's where we are right now.
But how do you know?
And also, they refer to these potential big dude aliens as engineers, and they believe
They engineered us.
Makes sense.
though honestly, we were probably like their middle school project worth 5% of their final grade that they just put together the day before while Mountain Dew hungover and sleep deprived. I mean, have you seen how disgusting a human body is? If you haven't, Dave's got an Instagram.
Sorry.
You're gonna get so many followers looking for the most disgusting body in humanity's existence. This isn't nearly as disgusting as I was promised, but it's not bad. It's pretty gross. Woo. Also, David in the movie, he's been shooting messages at the planet with a bunch of, hey, here's what humans are like videos, which is probably just like my entire back catalog. I am a representative for all of humanity, but he's yet to hear a response because guess my videos weren't good enough. It's fine.
So no response.
I'm sorry, no.
It's a dumb planet.
But he has, however, learned enough about languages that he feels reasonably confident he could speak their language, which is to say English, but slowly and loudly.
I'm confident I can communicate with them.
I love basketball. David later sees Charlie and Shaw just walking by and he's like, oh good, Charlize wants to talk to you and you're magically right in front of her cabin door, so head in there.
Doctors.
And her cabin is extra rad in that it has a super advanced and rare Chekhov's med pod.
They only made a dozen of these.
As well as Chekhov's self-contained life support systems. Charlize is like, just so you know,
my company paid $1 trillion to find this place and to bring you here.
and if you do somehow find aliens or something, do not contact them. Arby's is paying us good money so that the first contact words can be, we come in peace and we have the meat. And then we're gonna like whip out a beef and cheddar. We're gonna be like, try it. They're gonna eat it and it's gonna like, we're just spin in a circle and that'll be our new commercial for the Super Bowl.
Had you raised the monies yourself, Mr. Holloway, we'd happily be pursuing your penis.
But you didn't.
And let me briefly say that this is probably the explanation for why the ship technology all looks a good bit more rad than what we see on the Nostromo 30-ish years later. That's just a blue-collar shipping freighter versus this state-of-the-art science vessel.
It's actually a separate module with its own self-contained life support, air, food. Anything Miss Vickers would need to survive a hostile environment.
Because even in the future, your boss is driving an S-Class while you're putzing around in a busted Kia. Or in my case, a shitty Mazda that I break for these videos because I'm an idiot.
All chrome and shiny and shit.
Anyway, so they're landing now and they see what appear to be Trade Federation, I don't know, Lucra Hulk class battleships. I look up a lot of the correct pronunciations of these things, but if you know how to pronounce that, I don't want to talk to you. We're not gonna be friends. Don't even comment. If you know how to pronounce that, get the hell out.
Now this is being a bully.
I'm just kidding. I read 1,000,000 Star Wars books, which means I know a lot of Star Wars things, but I don't know how to pronounce any of it. But hey, if those ships were Hutts, they'd look like this. A team heads out to inspect the structures, and David is like, I'm gonna wear a helmet, even though I don't breathe in the traditional sense.
Because you people are more comfortable interacting with your own kind.
So, how about that weather? The ball team sure did not live up to my expectations last week.
Making you guys pretty close, huh? Not too close, I hope.
But seriously, he comes across as very weird for most of this movie. I don't think it's working.
The trick, William Potter, is not minding that it hurts.
Once they're inside the structure, the bad boy of geology, Solomon Lane,
I ain't here to be your friend.
releases a few magic floating balls to map the place, which is such a Dave thing to do. Just like plopping out your balls whenever you enter a cave. Pretty quickly, the crew finds a super wet hole because this is an alien movie after all.
Wonderfully moist.
Jesus.
And they also realize that the air is breathable. Can I get a woo for breathable air? Woo! Hell yeah. David also finds a goopy control panel and accidentally activates some sort of ancient hologram recording that shows big-ass dudes running from something until one of their heads pops off.
And he's been decapitated.
Nobody cares, crybaby.
Seems as good a sign as any to pack up and head home. Again, you have robots. You don't need to be doing this shit. Aliens aren't nearly as interesting as robots. Hey, fun bit of breeding lore. My nickname on sports teams in high school was Decap because I was so shitty at tackling. The one year I did football, I accidentally pulled a kid's helmet off instead of bringing him to the ground, and the coach yelled, "Stop decapitating my players," which is kind of mean because I was one of his players. Technically. And then, a few months later, I knocked another kid's helmet off playing lacrosse solely because I was so short that just the top of my helmet hit the underside of his. And a couple of the jocks saw me later in health class and were like, "Yo, what's up, Decap?" And thus a legend was born. And just to be clear, I was a district champion in wrestling, okay? I just sucked at those sports. Come here, Dave. Let me prove how good I am at wrestling.
I just mostly remember you spitting into a f***ing bottle throughout all of lunch.
That's what it takes to be a champion, Dave. Woo! Anyway, huge headless dead guys freak out Solomon, who's really more of a rock fan.
I like rocks. I love rocks. That's clear you two don't give a shit about rocks.
That's a rock fact.
So he and the biologist guy named Milburn bugger off for the main ship.
Ship's good.
Ship very good.
The remaining crew members inspect the body and determine that it's about 2,000 years old and therefore is probably Jesus, but in space? I mean, 2,000 years ago, created humanity, head fell off? Sounds like Jesus to me.
Congratulations on meeting your maker.
But then David accidentally opens the door.
I'm attempting to open the door.
And they find two heads. One is the big dude's, but the other looks like a big god statue Easter Island thing. There are also mural paintings and weird pod bases, and it all looks way cooler than most churches.
Do you think this thing was some kind of a god?
Once we start making money, Dave and I are gonna buy leather pants, hire a blind saxophone player, and then build a big studio exactly like this. We'll call it a church, and it'll be a cult, and that's how we'll be financially stable.
Don't be a skeptic.
I will say it's interesting how good directors like Ridley Scott and Denis Villeneuve are able to just make their CG look 10 times better somehow. Even now, 12-year-old Prometheus looks better than 95% of modern movies released today. It makes sense, I guess. I just wish they could do it more often. I wish more things were goopy at this level, at this caliber of goop.
Sorry.
Speaking of, somebody touches some goop.
Organic.
Oh no.
And things start changing in freaky ways, so they're like,
Back the head.
Paper or plastic?
while David secretly bags a pod and they leave, but they better move quick because as these guys report,
we got an incoming storm front.
Lots of static. This is not good.
I see it.
Did you know there's a storm coming, Captain Idris Elba, with an inexplicable southern accent? There's multiple times in this movie where they're like, Captain, according to the sensors, there's a storm. And you look up and there's like a wall of clouds and fire and lightning like 7 feet away. And they're like, are you sure? Check again. I'm so glad that this ship comes with $1 trillion worth of equipment or whatever.
Damn it.
They make it back to the ship after a brief head snafu.
Are you all right?
Yes.
But learn that the other two never made it back. And indeed, they're lost in the cave still. Now, I often feel compelled to defend this movie, but come on. How did the map guy get lost exactly?
I love
I didn't hear you.
Tell them to themselves.
I mean, it's cliche that you literally had one job. And why didn't he say, hey, I'm lost at any point before now? Like maybe when everybody was yelling about the impending storm? Well, the idiots didn't, and now they're stuck until morning when the storm subsides, which to be clear is the day after Christmas. They're missing Christmas.
We skip Christmas.
Where are we gonna go?
We'll go bask in the Caribbean sun.
Ah, that's the saddest part of this whole movie, is what a shitty Christmas this is. Whatever, let's check out that head for a second. Oh, shit. Well, at least we can still inspect its DNA, and yep, turns out it matches perfectly with human DNA. They totally built us.
DNA. Match.
That doesn't necessarily mean they built them, right? Like if I had the same DNA as my son, I built them in a sense.
Their genetic material predates ours. We come from them.
We just haven't had the talk with the engineers.
Yeah. Or with the scientists inspecting them.
Yeah, right.
You want to know someone alien.
What does that even mean? Like, if it has the exact same DNA, all the humans are to engineers, they are less jacked and like less pale. So like they didn't improve upon it. If I creamed into a petri dish and then like stunted the growth of whatever came out, would you be like, wow, I can't believe you built that?
It's like a little weak, stupid version.
Yeah, I'm an engineer! I'm a scientist!
No, that's a science project I'm just never talking about again. It was a failure.
Even a monkey is like, well, I mean, I don't know if we made monkeys or not, but monkeys are like, what, 2% different? At least that you could be like, all right, we started with most of the stuff, and then we made it way hairier and had blue asses. I mean, if it's 100% the same.
They made us have love, Jordan.
Oh, they gave us love.
There is nothing special about the creation of life, right? Anybody can do it. I mean, all you need is a dash of DNA.
No, but no, they totally built us. It's like how I know Dave invented hamburgers because I keep finding cow's blood in his basement.
Try harder.
And David, meanwhile, opens his special vase, which just so happens to be full of goopy glass dildos, and he opens one up and he takes a single drop of the black liquid and he essentially poisons Charlie with it. Maybe he's trying to give him an upgrade? Ah, watch that movie, it rips. It's his best work outside of pretending to be Tom Hardy when he writes bogus checks.
Ow! You stabbed him!
By the way, his weird fingerprints are an excellent touch. I think that's actually really cool.
It's worth drinking to, I'd imagine.
Don't drink that! It's pretty clear that while the humans are all looking for humanity's creators, humanity's creation, David, is robo-pissed.
I guess it's a good thing you can't be disappointed, huh?
Yes.
He's an unhappy little guy throughout this entire movie. Charlie, for his part, bangs Shaw.
Hey.
Who's apparently barren.
I can't create life.
That's sad. And also Charlize and Idris bang.
Oh.
Because, I mean, how could they not? I mean, look at them.
Maybe 30, 40 inches?
Wayland Corp could have made its $1 trillion back by just charging people to watch that.
I mean, you could just say, hey, trying to get laid.
Also, Charlie has something in his eyeball, but I'm sure it's fine. Did he witness those two banging? Because science has yet to determine what that'd do to your eyes, but I imagine it would be a lot. Your eyes would be like... If they have a baby, do you think they can say that they engineered it?
Oh.
Back in the wet cave, the two abandoned goobers stumble upon a whole pile of bodies and are like, yeesh, that's yucky.
It's like a scene out of some sort of Holocaust painting.
And they continue on into that same room with the vases, but they're all leaking black goop.
Gazpacho.
Hey, look at that! A little alien fella pokes its head out of the goop, and it's just like, hello, how are you? Do you mind if I crush your arm like a grape and then spray acid blood that melts your face off when you try to cut me? This is exactly what it was like when I met my wife. You just gotta brush past those rough first impressions.
So what kind of stuff are you into?
So they're dead. Probably. But Idris was too busy having SEX to hear their SOS, which, I mean, fair. So a crew heads back to the ship to find them, and also David, as instructed by Charlize, does a secret side mission to what appears to be the bridge of the ship. David cuts Charlize's video feed off, though, and watches a hologram recording that suggests, yeah, there are a handful of engineers here who are planning to play a space flute that would allow them to fly their ship to Earth, maybe? And he also realizes, hey, one of these engineer fellas is probably still alive. David is very much here for it. He loves maps and huge alive guys. Unlike, I guess, Solomon, who, by the way, is looking rough, as is Charlie.
He's not good.
The crew realizes, hey, something's off. So they rush back to the ship where Charlize is waiting for them with a flamethrower just to put them out of their misery in the most pain-free way.
Sit back, relax, enjoy the...
And she burns Charlie all to shit. And let me tell you, Charlize could set me on fire anytime she wants. No judgment for me, just...
Oh, that's good.
Shaw passes out from the big sad, however, and David wakes her and is like, hey, did you and Charlie ever
You're pregnant.
3 months pregnant, to be exact. And she's like, But again, he's like,
Did you have intercourse?
Sink the sub. Hide the weasel, park the porpoise, bit of the old Humpty Dumpty, little Jack Horny, the horizontal mumbo, the bone dancer, Rumpelforsky, baloney bop, bit of the old cunning linguistics.
And she's like, yeah, but only 10 hours ago. And he's like, whoa, TMI. But let's plop you in a cryopod until we can get you medical help. And she says what she didn't say to Charlie and is like,
Get it out of me!
But David gives her a relaxing shot.
Let me give you something.
And is like, didn't your dad die of Ebola? I watched your dreams while you slept. Also, was your dad Patrick Wilson? That's crazy. I loved when he got naked in Watchmen.
How do you know that?
I watched
the unrated version of the DVD.
But when they try to move her, Shaw escapes and makes a run for Charlize's special med pod. And weirdly, when she asks for a C-section, the pod is like, whoa, we only do boys in here, okay? Give me a boy thing, I'll do a boy thing. You want a bigger penis? That's mostly what this thing is used for.
This med pod is calibrated for male penises only.
So she has to program a manual procedure on the fly. And what follows is one of the gnarliest scenes ever. Basically, she's getting the alien cut out of her stomach while the thing flails around and I guess tries to suckle. I don't know how babies work. I just know how to make them. I know how to engineer them. I've made 3 already. Please sign up for my Patreon so I can hire a professional suckle person. A suckle stress. Fortunately, she escapes the Republican health class PSA and seems like she's running actually pretty okay, considering that she had an alien plucked from her guts like 60 seconds ago. Last week, I thought about exercising and had to take 2 days off from work, which I can do because I have no boss or money. And whoops, she managed to stumble into a room with a still alive and terribly old man make-upped Wayland, which is sort of a weird twist because it doesn't really matter to anybody on board if he's alive or dead, or likely even if he's on the ship.
You're on the ship all this time. Why?
I have a flair for the dramatic.
He could have been banging Idris Elba this whole time, but I guess he came along just in case because he wants to speak to an engineer IRL and see if they can keep him alive a little bit longer.
These things made us. And surely they could us.
He also wants to maybe ask some broader existential questions about why we're here in the first place and what our purpose is, and will Dr. Jordan Breeding's YouTube channel ever break 100,000 subscribers? You know, the big questions.
Most meaningful questions ever asked by mankind.
Tell me, engineer! Oh, God. But it is such a weird twist. It's like, this guy you don't give a shit about, he's alive. Oh, right. You could have been here. Nobody is mad at you, I don't think. You paid for the whole thing. Just come along.
Maybe he did something super awkward on, like, day 1. And it was like, I'm stuck.
He's like going to meet the crew, but then he like shits in his pants. And he's like, that's it. I'm hiding in the back. For the rest of the trip, we're going to make a fake video where I claim that I'm dead. I don't want to talk to anyone. I'm dead. I died. And so then it's a twist. She stumbles in. She's like, oh, the guy who his pants. He's like, fuck! Oh, damn it. You are never going to let me live that down.
Yeah, I guess that's The literal only reason.
That is actually lore. So they strap an exoskeleton thing on him to help him walk and help him not his pants again.
A negative way of looking at things.
And Shaw's like, no, it's scary here, we should leave. But like, what did she expect? It's first contact. You have no idea how it's going to go. All evidence points to it going poorly, but they haven't even talked to an engineer yet. Yes, it's scary and weird, but surely that would be expected. This isn't Star Trek, lady, where first contact instantly leads to first base. You like show up and they're all playing GoldenEye and they're like, come sit down. And you're like, okay.
Can you tell us where we came from? How did you build us?
Oh yeah, sure thing, dude. Grab a controller. Okay, so the year was 2,000 years ago.
Your mother.
So when an engineer and a petri dish fall in love.
We invented white guys that run on mayonnaise.
We made you made milky ass robots. Circle of Life. I don't know if you saw The Lion King. Do you guys have that yet?
You guys have been in Space Jam?
It's great. And indeed, Waylon is like, well, I'm dead in a few days regardless, and I've literally spent $1 trillion, so I'm not worried about it. And I'm on his side, at least in the sense that I think we should let dying people do whatever they want. Wrestle gorillas, enter demolition derbies with bulldozers, eat at Arby's, etc.
We have the
sweet euthanasia!
And Shaw does agree to go with him to meet the engineer, so I guess she does at least partially agree too. And we also get a twist reveal that Charlize is Waylon's daughter.
Father.
Which again, doesn't change anything. What's with this family and pointlessly stupid secrets? Was the big reveal on the ride home going to be that they're all lactose intolerant?
No.
Also, this forces me to imagine this guy only 30-something years younger plowing somebody of fertile birthing age. And I don't like it. I wish they'd made her a granddaughter. What is this, friggin' Rise of Skywalker? Good. Ew. I like to refer to women as whether they are of or not of fertile birthing age.
Oh god, I'm in one of those YouTube channels.
There's two kinds of ladies.
That is a natural order of things.
Oh look, Solomon's back. Oh no, but he's mean now? But fortunately, they managed to run him over and shoot him and set him on fire. No problem that can't be solved with a little road rage and flame throwing. Idris Elba, by the way, has been studying the map and decides, okay, this isn't the alien homeworld. This is like a military base where they were building WMDs, except the WMDs got out.
It got out.
I hate when my nukes decide to eat me.
That's what all that is in those vases.
He also determines there's a ship underneath the facility that looks exactly like the one from the first movie, and they were apparently headed to Earth to destroy it, which is just, it's kind of a thing to do.
I don't care.
I mean, come on, that's where koala bears live. Although, counterpoint, it's also where Dave lives.
Right.
The team reaches the engineer and he's like, hello, nice to meet you. Attack! And he rips off David's head and kills Waylon, and she just freaking books it.
Get the fuck out of here!
He then activates the ship to presumably head to Earth and finish the job. And again, the crew aboard the Prometheus uses sophisticated techniques to identify what they're dealing with.
What the hell is that?
What? Wait a minute. You guys seeing this? Yes.
What?
And Charlize is like, yeah.
Time to go home.
But Idris and two of his lackeys are like, actually, we should probably pull a holdo maneuver on this ship because if it gets to Earth, it'll destroy all the Dave and Busters and then life will be pointless. But feel free to eject on one of the escape pods. We'll also poop out your special self-contained quarters. That should have enough supplies to keep you alive for 2 probably super fun years. Anyway, my life for ire. Feels like they all came to that decision pretty quickly, but I guess there weren't many other options besides, I don't know, spending the next 2 years trapped on a distant world with nothing to do with Charlize Theron, who you recently just spent the night with. Oh no, I'm trapped in this ship alone with Charlize Theron and nothing to do. What do you want to do, Charlize Theron? Hey, so I've been reading about engineers and you know if you wanted to try and engineer something.
I mean, you could just say, hey, I'm trying to get laid.
That's my Idris Elba impersonation. Was it good? Hello, Charlize Theron, you want to make the babies?
You know...
So the ship crashes, but it also rolls. And yes, the internet has for years been like, lol, if Shaw and Charlize had just run in another direction, Charlize wouldn't be so flat. But A, they aren't seeing exactly what's happening or the speed with which it's happening in the same way that we are. From their perspective, they just see an approaching wall of metal that they need to get away from. Running to the side would make it actually come at them more quickly because science and physics. and they don't necessarily know how long it is and how running away is impossible in that direction. Also, B, they're a bit panicked and not inherently going to make the best decisions, and C, Shaw does actually move in the other direction, but it still falls on her. She only survives because of a miracle rock.
Good old rock. Nothing beats that.
It's just not that dumb of a scene. In fact, I think most of these type gripes of this movie are missing the point that these are all largely egotistical people who believe they can literally hunt down and interrogate their gods. It's not gonna go well, you guys. Prometheus, the Greek dude, found that out the hard way. It's like that time that Dave stormed the Vatican trying to free Jesus, but was immediately thwarted by a tasty-looking lasagna in a nearby cafe. He's not a strong man. And then you ate the whole thing, your tummy hurt, and you fell asleep, and when you woke up, you didn't remember what you were there for. Shaw eventually makes it to Charlize's quarters, but it's looking pretty messed up. Like, I'm slightly worried that her GameCube supplies didn't survive the crash, but even worse... Oh right, her baby's still there. Even worser, David's head pops up on the radio and he's like, hey, just so you know, the engineer is coming to kill you. But Shaw manages to distract it with some tentacle hentai. While the engineer gets the hell pleasured out of him. I actually had to pause the movie to make sure I wasn't watching one of Dave's unmarked DVDs at this point.
Fisherman's Wife and Fisherman's Wife 2, The Retentacling.
And honestly, look, side by side, I mean, which is Dave's, which isn't? You're gonna have to lend me one of your hentai DVDs. Shaw heads back to the alien ship, scoops up David's head, which seems like a bad choice considering literally everything he did in this entire movie outside of bawling, and is like, what do you say we find another ship and fly that to the engineer homeworld and be like, hey, what the hell? Why did you guys make us and then decide to kill us? That's not nice.
I deserve to know why.
Oh, and also she puts on her cross necklace so the engineers will know she's a Christian, I guess.
The answer is irrelevant.
Anyway, she leaves a final report for nobody and flies away, while the fully pleasured engineer births a gnarly xenomorph.
Brother, I've brought you a flute.
I don't have a brother.
Don't worry about it. You blow our finger. Yes. Marvelous. You blow like a champion, brother.
Hey, language. Be respectful there, sugar dick.
According to even more cave paintings, we open on David's eyeball, and a younger Wayland is like, how do you feel? And David is like, alive, and lists all the things he loves.
Chair, piano, art,
flip.
Wayland spoils the ending of Empire Strikes Back.
I am your father.
No! And then is like, hey, pick your name. And David is like, well, I've got a tiny penis. Just like
David.
Then thankfully there's a slow title reveal. We're in for another good one. And by the way, despite this movie's faults, watching this in theaters was a top 10 movie-going experience. The crowd was into it. It was pre-pandemic. We were all spitting into each other's mouths and licking the armrests. I mean, it makes a huge difference. I really enjoy movies a lot more when that kind of thing's going on. Freaking COVID ruined that.
We come to AMC theaters to
Fucking suck.
because we need that. All of us.
No. There must be more.
Anyway, here's the colonization ship Covenant, in the year 2104, headed to some far-off planet to poop humans all over it. Per usual, a synthetic is the only one awake, and though this looks like David, his name is Walter. And he's got a less serial killer-resounding American accent, because technology is clearly improving.
On my way, mother.
Except then, whoops! A neutrino blast fires while the ship has its repower sails out, and everything goes to shit. Walter hurriedly wakes up the crew, but James Franco's such a lazy bum he would rather set himself on fire in his own pod than wake up.
Let them work.
Probably somehow a metaphor for his recent legal and career troubles.
I can't make any promises.
Can a character be pre-canceled? This makes his wife sad, and we soon learn that basically every crew member is married to another crew member because colonization. Though wouldn't it just be better if the crew was just a big polyamorous Rex? Just like a big naked ball of genitals and squirts? I mean, you're already down one husband with this reproductive musical chair setup. You need to diversify your family bonds.
I can't think of any other way to say it than
Fucking suck.
Anyway, the result is they all have some pretty spicy nicknames.
Little less of the old man, sweet tits.
Hey, Language. Be respectful there, sugar dick.
One of the sadder looking fellows is now tasked with being the new captain, which is unfortunate because he sucks at speeches.
And I'm grateful in advance for your support.
He's just not very popular either.
They don't trust me for the same reason the company didn't trust me to lead this mission, because you can't be a person of faith and be counted on to make qualified, rational decisions.
He thinks this is because he is a person of non-specific faith. Considering this is space and he's colonizing, you have to assume he's Mormon, though. If The Expanse, Battlestar Galactica, Starship Troopers, and others are to be believed, it's Mormons. They're the main ones in space.
Mormon.
I don't know why. I guess because they believe they get their own planet or something. A few crew members even throw an unsanctioned little wake for James Franco, the character, not the actor. And Walter even drinks whiskey, despite it ostensibly doing nothing.
When in Rome.
Yes. Please go on.
Like, will that not just obliterate his gears or curdle his milk blood?
Pour yourself a glass, pal.
Thank you, but I'm afraid it would be wasted on me.
What a weird thing to be like, do you want some of my expensive whiskey? He's like, of course. Just dumps it on the floor. That was for James Franco. Maybe I should have given you water.
No ice, no water, no chaser.
Wow. Quite a drink order.
Later, Danny McBride repairs the damage to the array.
There we go.
The weird starts happening in his helmet, and because Danny McBride's character is, as always, Danny McBride,
please have a cold beer ready for the weary traveler.
He instantly recognizes that the weird is actually John Denver's Country Roads.
That's John Denver.
They track the transmission to a shockingly habitable planet that's not particularly far away and is realistically way more livable than the one that they're heading towards. They decide to check it out to make sure, despite the protests of James Franco's widow, Daniels.
That's your second I need to protest. Officially.
But her concerns are ignored on account of her having terrible taste. Like, she married James Franco. Anybody married to James Franco should not pick which planet to colonize. That's just like an easy rule of thumb.
Everybody knows that.
Who you calling ignorant?
A select few waterland on this new planet, while 3 crew members remain on the mothership because that's what makes sense. Aliens with an S.
I'm good with my wife's tits.
And it turns out that, yeah, they don't even need helmets. They can breathe. All they need are literal GoPros and the unshakable belief that because they can breathe okay, there's no reason to fear breathing any weird space farts in.
Y'all have fun.
Also, there's wheat. Yum! Now they can make some communion bread for the captain. Because he's, a Mormon maybe.
Very unlikely.
While the majority of the team heads towards the transmission, 2 of the cannon fodder characters split off to do some science. While the lady collects samples, the dude accidentally activates a horse turd looking pod that sprays some shit in his ear.
Coming.
I'm sure he'll be fine. I mean, I was. And now I know to wear earmuffs to sleep in case Dave escapes his cage during the night. Actually, shoot. I was wrong. Very wrong. They run back to the landing ship and put him in the med bay. But yeah, my guy, he is looking rough. The pilot locks the dude and the other woman in the med bay to contain the infection, even though she was just sprayed in the face with his back blood. And indeed, an alien pops out of my guy's back. And quick question, can the aliens pop out of any body part? We've seen them come out of chests and stomachs and now backs. And are all body parts on the table? How about butts? Dave, write that down. They're ostensibly writing more alien movies. This could be our big break. We gotta stand out. Look, we open on a butt. Alien pops out. And they're like, say no more. Look, I'm just saying we gotta innovate in this space.
Aliens shooting that ass.
Just a guy, alien after alien.
How many are there?
How many are there? Oh my God. Alien butts coming to theaters 2027. Anyway, the first woman tries to kick and stab the alien to little avail. And the other woman tries to shotgun it, but whoop, she misses and blows up the entire damn ship.
Did we get him?
Women. Am I right, Dave? This is why a woman could never be president of her own planet. First sign of trouble, she'd panic and shoot the White House gas tanks on accident and explode the whole country.
Let's get to work.
But while that's all happening, the other crew members discover and leisurely inspect Shaw's crashed alien ship from the last movie. She crashed, I guess.
What the f*** is this?
It appears to be some kind of vehicle.
Great.
Yeah. And of course, one of the dudes puts his face right in the pod. Because like most characters in this franchise, he has the survival instincts of a toddler. I'm sure he'll be fine. Oh no, actually I was wrong. Very wrong. He poops an alien out of his mouth, which actually isn't all that bad, considering all the other holes and non-holes that aliens have come out of. If we're gonna crush this general meeting, I'm telling you, they're trying new holes. They haven't tried that hole.
I mean, that's like the big hole.
I can't think of any other way to say it.
The alien scampers around, injuring people and knocking off Walter's hand until a man in a cloak with a flare gun shows up and is like, "Come with me if you want to live," while making no mention of laughing or loving. It's not worth living if you don't laugh and you don't love. We have to go. So, but whatever, they follow him to what he describes as a necropolis.
Necrophilia is not my thing.
Nobody said you had to have sex with the dead bodies strewn about. Jeez, Christian.
I didn't have much choice.
They go inside, and there are some big heads, just like in the last movie, and it turns out that Mr. Cloak and Dagger here is OG David.
10 years ago, Dr. Elizabeth Shaw and I arrived here, the only survivors of the Prometheus.
He claims all the aliens on the ship accidentally deployed when they crashed, and Shaw died in said crash. And he is absolutely not lying in any way whatsoever, and he's been marooned here for like 10 years. Wait, I've seen this exact thing in Predators. If you haven't, go watch my previous video.
Well, I want to get some sleep.
Anyway, the point is, David is like 100% evil now. Just you watch. But anyway, he's like, yeah, you guys can hang out if you want, because I'm a super chill robot, and I'm all about family, and I'm all about vibes.
Welcome, brother.
Now, they'd contact Covenant for an evac, but there's a pretty big storm causing interference, so in the meantime, David gives himself a haircut and teaches Walter how to pump his penis.
Blow into the hole gently.
I mean, play the flute. Sorry. I get confused because he's just all so erotic.
I'll do the fingering.
David mentions briefly that he thinks humans suck and that Wayland wasn't even worthy of him, which, fair. But Walter is like, yeah, I've been upgraded to be way less human than you, so I'm actually cool with it. They programmed out the angst. I've never even listened to My Chemical Romance.
Gentle pressure on the holes.
When I was
Robot.
Very good.
Flashback. Yeah, David definitely intentionally released the xenomorph juice on a bunch of engineers, killing them all, though he does claim Shaw was the one who put him back together, which is surprising, considering she was an archaeologist, and he was literally just a head, and more importantly, she witnessed the whole, I'm gonna betray all of you thing from the last movie. I guess he had some body lying around, but it still seems like he'd be a lot jankier than he is. I mean, his fingering is masterful. I guess two seemingly opposite things can have a lot of overlap, like archaeology and robotics, or having an English degree and feeding your family. I have both, by the way, an English degree and a family. Help me feed them by signing up for my Patreon. It hurts way less than having a xenomorph Kool-Aid man their way out of your ass backstage at a Beyonce concert. Oh no! I revealed too much of my pitch meeting! Don't steal it, internet! Yeah, because that's another thing they haven't had, is a cool concert. Ah, the single Tyler Perry's Diary of a Mad Black Woman with an alien coming out of her ass! But whatever, the mouth alien has stalked them here, and they set it up like we're about to get a chesty shower scene, but no. The alien has no sense of timing. And as it turns out, David is friends with this alien, and he is very upset when the captain shoots the shit out of it. David is like, hey, let me show you something. With all of the chill of a dude with a van that has free ice cream painted on the side.
Perfectly safe. I'll show you.
The captain's like, sure thing, strange robot man who clearly shares a bond with aliens.
It trusted me.
Take me wherever you want. Ooh, a room full of big-ass eggs. Geez, I hope they're safe. I'm sure he'll be fine. I was wrong. Very wrong. Rip Billy Cudrip. But also called it. While the captain gets egged, they do manage to establish contact with Covenant, and they send down Danny McBride to save everybody, which, I mean, that's pretty desperate.
Big ass hero. Hero.
That's the point, son.
But while they wait, they realize David actually killed Shaw and used her in his experiments, and that in general he's been crossbreeding and messing with xenomorphs, and he even stabs Walter in the neck with his penis. Oh, I mean, his flute. Although it looks like Walter's neck self-heals. Like, what is he, a fallout ghoul?
You don't have to worry about that anymore, do you, buddy boy?
Elsewhere, another face hugger attacks one of the other guys and gets acid on his face, and David attacks Daniels and kisses her because this guy has a lot of love to share.
Is that how it's done?
But then Walter shows back up and starts to kick David's ass.
Let them fight.
And Walter seems to have the upper hand.
How come his is so much bigger than yours?
There have been a few updates since your day.
But you can never tell because they look identical. Not to be a robot racist, I just think they all look the same. So now it's down to 2 survivors, Daniels and a dude with a face rash. And they throw a beacon and the ship shows up.
We're in the pipe, 5 by 5.
And Walter and also a xenomorph run for the ship. Once boarded, Daniels grabs a gun and runs out to get the xeno. But she's forced to rope herself to the platform and is constantly being thrown off, and it's an undeniably pretty cool action sequence. Eventually, she kills the xenomorph with a crane thing. And I guess that's it. I mean, well done, everybody.
Walk in the park.
Back on board the Covenant, Danny McBride shoots his shot now that his McBride and Daniel's husband are both dead.
You look good. I took Mother offline.
We can do whatever we want.
Because it's not like this new planet's gonna repopulate itself, sugar tits. And indeed, the other remaining couple bangs in the shower to try and get a head start, but I'm worried that the water will sluice out all the valuable juices.
Like tears.
But whatever, it doesn't matter because oh crap! A xenomorph apparently busted out of that dude's burned face and now busts all over this busted couple making out in their shower, which makes it a total bust. Danny and Daniels get Walter to force the alien into the terraforming bay or whatever, where Daniels is able to basically knock it out of the airlock and save the day. Again. And then she and Danny hop in their sleep pods and are like, yay, I can't wait to go to sleep. Hey, by the way, Walter, can you help me later when I wake up with a thing that only you know about?
Will you help me build my cabin?
What is this drunk bitch talking about?
Oh, wait, you don't know about it? Does that mean you're actually David? No! Falls asleep.
Don't let the bed bugs bite.
And while they nap, David puts a couple alien embryos in the cold storage next to the human ones and sends a report claiming that most of the crew died during the solar flare and just sort of brushes past the whole landing on the planet thing.
All crew members apart from Daniels in Tennessee tragically perished in a incident.
Now, let me just take a moment to say that at some point during every single movie, there's at least one character that's like, God, these aliens are perfect specimens. I love them so much. I want to give them a kiss. They're so perfect. But like, other than the fact that they kill everything and are sort of hard to kill themselves, depending on whether or not there are a ton of them and therefore easy to kill, or just one and therefore super hard to kill, like what are they actually good at? They're so aggressive, they'll almost certainly rip through all possible food wherever they end up immediately, and they're otherwise stupid as shit, and they won't live long enough to build any like civilization or improve in any way. They're just not that great. That'd be like people constantly being like, whoa, tigers are way better than humans because they're so much better at killing antelope. It's like, sure, they're pretty good at that, but can they write incredible flute songs about aliens? I doubt it. We have robots that do that. Just use the robots. Space people! They're not on this earth.
You know, I wonder if this flute has the ability to make me travel through time. I wonder if I just... Ah! Whoa, based on my surroundings, it looks like I'm somewhere between Alien and Aliens, the rock in a hard place of space. You know, while we're here, why don't we talk about the movie that's here with me, just in case anything from it attacks me. You gotta stay informed.
Where'd you learn all this?
Games and magazines.
Having learned my lesson from watching Furiosa at Alamo Drafthouse, I did not order any of the branded food or eat any of the branded leftovers off the table next to me as I left the theater, as they seem similarly and specifically designed to destroy my butthole like a xenomorph in Dave's in my spec script. I just got a classic Royale with cheese, and my butthole did not regret it. We are not going to put any Royales with cheeses in our butt script because we got to have more intense foods for our butts. But oh shit, the 20th century logo immediately glitches out, meaning all the non-butthole parts of me are once again in for a wild ride. And yet the scot-free production logo remains suspiciously unglitched. Is the ride not quite as wild as I was led to believe? Keep watching to find out.
Are you sure you want to do this?
We then see silent stars and a silent dark ship which whirs to life as Mother does all the beep boop set engage the things, as they say in science. space. It's space size. The ship is revealed to be in a big old pile of floating mess like the aftermath of Dave's first foray into Indian cuisine.
Sorry.
And the ship sucks in what appears to be an asteroid but is revealed to actually be the fossilized remains of the xenomorph from the first movie, meaning this Dave scat-like rubble is actually the Nostromo.
You think there's someone in there?
Uh-oh. Then the title card comes up pretty quick. Not the quickest ever, but definitely not slow. We will see how this affects the final product. Next, a pretty lady named Rain.
There she is.
Dreams briefly of a nice planet before waking up on a star mining colony, and we learn the year is 2142. That is,
this story slips right in between Alien and Aliens.
The good news is that she has met her quota for basically being a slave hours, and now she can transfer off-world to somewhere nicer and be less of a slave, except, never mind.
Are we leaving?
Denied. Again.
They just raised the quota eerily, similarly to how our bonus targets used to always mysteriously rise as we came close to actually hitting them. And because of this, she's expected to transfer from farming to the poison mines, where her parents actually died because of the poison in the poison mines.
It is odorless, tasteless, dissolves instantly in liquid.
Killed my parents.
Also, Rain has an adoptive robot brother named Andy who stutters a lot and tells tons of dad jokes, so he's like Joe Biden in space.
Hey, have you guys ever seen a taco? Those things will mess you up. Guys, this star mining colony is pretty crazy, right?
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Beep boop pop. He's kind of annoying, but he does bleed milk if you ever get thirsty, so he's worth keeping around. They head over to a friend's, I don't know, like a space trailer, like in the space trailer park. And the four friends in there are like, check this out. There's a derelict spaceship trapped in our orbit. I bet it has some cryo chambers, which we could grab and then nap in for the 9 years that it would take for our non-derelict ship that we could steal to fly to the closest planet that doesn't suck complete ass. Unlike this planet, which does.
You want to break in and steal highly regulated equipment.
I need my afternoon nap.
But we're gonna need Andy, a former Weyland-Yutani bot reprogrammed by Rain's dead dad to protect her at all costs, to get access. They need he's got special fingers. He can get in all the locks.
I have special
fingers.
When I was at crack, they put a bunch of stuff in my fingers so I could just get into the vault. And initially Rain is like, no, that's crazy. But then she's like, actually, it's so crazy, it just might work. Because after all, it's not like there's any benefit to remaining here and having the life slowly poisoned out of her for somebody else's profit. I know that. So off they go. And man, this movie looks good. This trend of lower budget sci-fi movies like this and the creator looking better than high budget ones is fascinating.
I no longer go by the name Ass.
A smarter channel than mine should do a video about that. But for my part, I'll just go, oh, ooh, oh, dick joke, ooh. They break through the beautiful clouds and realize the derelict ship is really more of a derelict space station. Not that that really matters to them, but the thing apparently only has 36 hours until it crashes into this planet's rings, which would be bad because it would explode, which even in the future is pretty bad. But 36 hours is also, I mean, basically like a million years, so I'm sure it'll be fine. They take off and dock, and Andy successfully fingers the first door, and then quickly learns that there's no gravity in the station. Although the gravity generators turn themselves on automatically every once in a while to smash shit because of a reason, I'm sure. I mean, who am I? Isaac Newton? I don't know shit about apples. I mean, what it practically does is they're all like floating around and then it's like gravity on, slam. And I'm like, how is this good for the ship? To have everything float up and then slam down?
To keep the ship going, we must stress its frame constantly.
I know.
Yeah, gravity sucks.
Eventually, Andy reboots the station, which turns on the gravity generators full time, which helps save more money for the goop budget. They don't have to put people in harnesses or whatever. They find the cryopods, but they've only got enough cold juice for like 3 years. But that's okay. They're fairly positive there's more cryo juice deeper in the station. So they fire the pods over to their ship, and then they head deeper into the station, which is where they think the stuff is.
It's a perfect plan.
It wasn't.
By the way, let me just explain these 4 non-Rain, non-Andy people real quick. There's a leadery type named Tyler, who I think used to date Rain. There's his dumbass cousin Bjorn, who actively dates Navarro. And also there's Tyler's secretly pregnant sister Kay, who won't say who the father is. For some reason, her caginess has a faint whiff of incest. Or maybe Dave just forgot to shower this morning. I don't know, it's in the air. She's like, oh, some asshole did it, don't worry about it. Bjorn's like, hey, I mean, what are you guys talking about? Actually, he probably doesn't even know. That'd be my guess. I think she's keeping it a secret from him too, because you know how sometimes you get you get pregnant from your cousin and you're like, I don't even know if I should tell him because then it's gonna be a whole thing. I do want to keep it because, you know, it's gonna have lots of extra limbs. And we're in the alien universe. How are we gonna fight xenomorphs unless we make our own? And I wrote that, but then I saw on Reddit that the director did write it to be that way. I don't know why he confirmed it.
There's a lot of secrets and things they don't know inside that will cost them dearly.
I thought I was gonna be so clever because I was like the guy that noticed, but I didn't. He noticed. Anyway, the new planet they're heading to is outside Weyland-Yutani control, and they've got strict rules about non-humans like Andy not being allowed, which is sad because he's proven himself to be quite useful and lovable. So they may have to deal with that at some point, and that's also without knowing their opinions on cousin loving. But first, they'll need to survive what we soon learned was a Weyland-Yutani research station with two somehow maybe different halves named Romulus and Remus. We only named the movie the one, but there's another part too, because if you remember, they were twins and they had sex and they made Rome, I think.
No, they suckled from a sheep.
No.
Oh, well, when in Rome.
Andy, Tyler, and Bjorn soon find a torn-in-half robot and a massive hole in the floor and are like, I don't know about that. Torn-in-half robots and big floor holes suggest either a violent attack or violent lovemaking, neither of which are things that you want to stumble upon unprepared.
Are you sure?
The three musketeers eventually find the cryo bay and enough fuel to get them to their desired planet fully rested, but oh no! They set off some kind of alarm. I guess we're all hot and sweaty in there, and Andy's credentials aren't enough to get them out of the cryo room. He's fingering like crazy, but nothing's happening. So Rain and Navarro also run aboard the station, cut some credentials out of the half a robot's head, and pass them through a small crack in the door so Andy can reboot and open the door. But unfortunately, that takes a bit of time, and he kind of goes, he just kind of locks up. And in the meantime, a bunch of pods housing frozen face huggers melt. And those little buggers, they just start going crazy. Watch out. They're just jumping around and swimming around, and they're violating mouths around. But fortunately, Andy reboots before anybody's face gets too hugged, and he's lost his stutter and his general shittiness as part of this new disc thing in his head. So he opens the door and they all escape, except, well, not Navarro so much. She does get hugged, but the best friends recognize they can't just cut the thing off. So they plug in the half-bot only to realize, oh, it's a pretty looking version of an Ash-style robot from the first movie. This guy's name is Rook, but he looks exactly like Ash and by extension Bilbo, weirdly. It doesn't look great, but I will say they reached out to actor Ian Holmes' widow, he died in 2020, and she actually really liked the idea of bringing him back, and they achieved the admittedly kind of looking effect without any AI, except to make the voice sound more similar. But they didn't use any old recordings or anything like that. It's mostly animatronics combined with CG and a new actor's voice performance. And it feels a little better and more thoughtful than doing a fully AI generated thing, but also it looks kind of shitty and doesn't really add a whole lot to the movie. It could have been any robot and it would serve the same purpose, which is apparently to be sneaky and evil naturally.
After all, why not? Why shouldn't I?
Bilbobot explains they discovered the original xenomorph 170 days ago and not dead because I guess it can survive wet engine blasts and not eating or breathing for months because again, perfect organ, actually months. It's like 20 years. How can it live that long?
Fucking suck.
Bilbo agrees with an idea Rain has about how they can probably get the facehugger off Navarro by freezing its ass with some cryo juice, and it works. Hooray for you! However, Bilbo is like, yeah, there's a 60% chance that she's still gotten Xeno pregnant, so Andy, you know what to do. And as it turns out, Andy's new special disc has overwritten his original directive to protect sweet, sweet Rain, and now he wants to do, you know, whatever the company wants. Like, he has to serve the company, which in this instance means chasing down Navarro to kill her, given the likelihood that there's an evil baby inside her. And they act like, oh my god, scary, he's evil. But even if his directive was just to protect Rain still, he'd still not want Navarro's evil alien baby on Rain's escape ship, right? He doesn't catch them, however, so Navarro, Bjorn, and the mostly unaware of what's going on Kay undock from the station with the intention of, I guess, flying to that other planet and abandoning Trevor and Rain forever just because Rain's robot brother wants to murder Navarro, I guess. But it turns out that Bilbo is 60% right 100% of the time.
That doesn't make sense.
And Navarro does get bursted out the chest. And in her flailing, sends the ship crash landing back into the space station. which is honestly the best possible outcome. She just as easily could have crashed into the rings or back into the planet or flown out into space and collided with Captain Hector. There's a reference you don't get. No one gets that reference. That said, all the careening and smacking around does knock the space station a few degrees off axis, accelerating their crash into the Ring's timeline all the way up to just 47 minutes. Trevor, Andy, and Rain attempt to get back to their ship because at this point they have basically everything they need to leave. They just need to be physically on the ship and not impregnated by any aliens. But they're forced across a room just drowning in facehuggers. They do this by raising the room temperature to match their body temperature, since apparently facehuggers mostly track via heat. It's like, uh-oh, Rain's gonna be in trouble though. That's a good looking lady. Those facehuggers are gonna be like, let me get at the mouth.
Kiss my ass, you horny old f***er.
Kay wakes up on the crashed ship because she got knocked out by Navarro's dramatic birthing process, which is actually not that dissimilar from when my wife had our second kid and the anesthesiologist told my wife to tell her if she felt any pressure and she stuck in the epidural thing. And my wife immediately said, pressure, pressure, pressure. And my body went, oh, she's dead. And I just kind of slumped over. And the nurses had to give me apple juice and lay me down on a bench. You're doing great, babe. And she was fine. Everything was fine. Anyway, Kay had a similar experience to me. And anyway, she wakes up and Bjorn wakes up too, and he's like, hey, check out this creepy sack on the wall. I'm gonna shock the tits out of it. But it stabs him in the eye and leaks acid blood on him, and it's like, that's what you get for banging your cousin, bro? What do you think this is, Virginia? Come on. Incest. Kay can't open a locked door, so she calls Tyler, who, as you may remember, is actively doggy paddling through a sea of facehuggers. And though he helps her, she doesn't even look where she's going, and she's asleep again. She's like, wow! Oh my... Kay is gonna be so well rested by the end of this film. Tyler, though, has set off the facehugger swarm, so they be running.
Run.
Eventually they escape and they find, again, a woken up Kay on the other side of another locked door. And they're like, open the door, Andy. And he's like, nah, bitch, there's a xenomorph. Literally, he's right there waiting for me to do exactly that so he can kill all of us.
Open the door, come on.
Ah, bitch. And the Xeno is like, ah, damn it, well played, robot boy. So he impales Kay and drags her away somewhere. And everybody's so mad at Andy, but again, like, Rain would have died if he opened the door. So far, the directives changing hasn't made any major difference, unless it just made him better at deductive reasoning. Like, this is now 2 instances where they're like, oh my god, his directive has changed and now he's so evil, but it's like, he's still protecting her. Somehow the interests of the company are also the interests of keeping her alive, so it's like... And indeed, Andy's like, if you guys help me, I'll let you fly to your special, not perpetual nighttime planet. And they're like, that seems fair. Because honestly, Andy's nothing but fair. So he brings them to a science lab where it's revealed the station specifically was designing a drug that uses xeno-DNA to accelerate human evolution and finally give us that second mouth inside our main mouth that we've wanted for so long. And okay, so this is actually a version of we need to study that organism that actually makes sense. Using it to beef up humanity rather than as some sort of nebulous weapon or whatever. I'm sure they still intend to weaponize it, but also maybe it'll make regular people like way faster at doing the dishes or like better at cartwheels. I mean, the possible applications are endless.
Science.
Andy wants to bring these drugs down to the mining colony so the work can continue. And to that end, the 2 humans grab assault rifles that come with Call of Duty style auto aim, which is pretty rad.
Hey, stands for aiming assist.
But also, they're not allowed to shoot them because the alien acid blood would burn through the hole and kill them all. The hope is that these guns will just intimidate the aliens to maintain their distance because they don't want anybody to puncture their perfect skin. Oh, they're so perfect, these organisms. The new look Musketeers encounter a hallway completely gooped out by aliens, a la the power plant and Aliens.
Gushy.
And they're like, we should go a different, less goopy way. But Trevor hears Kay's voice in the darkness, so he runs in there. And it turns out that she's been gorilla glued to the wall and is neither dead nor impregnated by anything worse than her first. She's still impregnated by her first cousin, but not by an alien. So they pull her down and damn it, Trevor's killed by a whole mess of xenomorphs and Kay's she's feeling shitty. So they're like, should we inject her with this miracle drug here in the case that it brings her to the next step of human evolution? But Rain's like, no. The space FDA hasn't approved it yet. So they run to an elevator and Andy is taken out by a xenomorph and Kay is like, I'm just gonna go ahead and take the drug. Things are looking rough around here. Rain sends drugged up Kay to the ship while she goes back for Andy to reboot him and make him all stuttery and daddy again.
Robot. Daddy?
Oh, is there such a thing?
Rain then turns off the station's gravity so the encroaching xenomorph's blood will float into the air. If somebody were to, I don't know, gun them down or up. Are there directional N0G? And then, yeah, she does shoot an assload of floating baddies and their blood floats harmlessly around like spilled milk on the counter, completely unaffecting my children. They're like, I spilled milk and I'm not worried about it. And I'm like, well, I am. Andy and Rain make it back to the elevator, which isn't working because there's no gravity, and they're attacked, but then the gravity cycles back on for a second like it always does because that space station's for ya. And Andy manages to intentionally drop the elevator on a bunch of aliens, which is hella tight. Andy also drops his own hefty ass onto a xenomorph and literally calls it a bitch.
Get away from her, you
corn pop. And I guess Andy and Rain are far enough up shaft that when the now plopping acid blood eats through the hull down below, it's like totally fine. The station is officially scraping its gargantuan ass along the rings now and breaking apart just like your butt would if you dragged it along rocks at, I don't know, like 10,000 knots or however they measure space speed in this universe.
Well, whatever then. Parsecs.
So Andy and Rain run back to their ship and give control over to Bilbo so he can autopilot them out of harm's way, but as soon as they're out of rock range, they turn off his access and be like, oh, we're not doing what you want, idiot. And Bilbo's like, oh shit. And he gets sucked out into space, which is actually pretty tough to watch because I don't exactly know if that's how actor Ian Holm died or not. Do you think he got sucked out into space? Without Googling, I have to assume it's a definite possibility. Space people! They plop Kay in a cryopod, except whoops, her baby is freaking out. And she births an alien egg sac the old-fashioned way out the old pussy! And there's a human baby looking thing inside the egg sac thing, and the acid on the sac causes it to burn a hole and fall into the cargo bay under the main part of the ship. So Rain goes after it to kill the baby with another cryo freeze gun like a real liberal. And also in the exact opposite way of a flamethrower, it's very different from previous movies in that way, okay? They were like hot, but she's like cold. But Kay suddenly realizes that she has literal goopy boobies that are quite appealing to her massive alien hybrid son. It looks a lot like the It from It Follows, which makes sense considering it's the offspring of two first cousins. Anyway, it tries to suckle those goopy boobies, and it does. Hard. Like to death. Big ass death. He also slices Andy pretty good, which ironically causes him to squirt milk. But that's not what this baby likes. He likes to drink the goop. It helps him grow big and strong and possibly mentally deficient because of the cousins. I like the idea that none of this has to do with xenomorphs and everything to do with her sleeping with her first cousin.
It's like the Habsburg royal family.
Yeah, right.
The incest is
You dropped this.
Rain releases a bunch of cryo juice everywhere and slips herself into a spacesuit so she won't die in the coldness of it all and attempts to release the cargo bay, but is attacked before she can finish pulling the, it's overkill 4 levers. You don't need 4 levers to do a thing. Even 2, that's pushing it. If you want to do a thing, just pull 1 lever. Who needs 4 levers? Who has 3 friends to just go pull levers with? But anyway, she manages to get out of the alien's grasp by burning a hole in the hull with some leftover baby egg sac acid. And he keeps attacking, but eventually the cargo hold releases and he drops onto the rings to presumably die, but also maybe not because these things are apparently nigh unkillable unless you shoot them, of course. So anyway, they turn the autopilot back on again, I guess, but like this time it's a nice version of it. And they head to the planet that they wanted to head to, and Rain puts Andy in cryo, which seems weird because he's not, like human, but it all seems like it's gonna be just fine. Other than the fact that they'll kill Andy on sight for not being human, thereby ensuring that everybody Rain has ever known will be fully dead. But isn't that just like real life, man?
Where'd you learn all this?
I am not gonna lie. I don't know what I learned from watching the, no, you cannot suckle, God, no, like feed me. Yeah.